Again, good evening. I'll start again. I had my mic muted as usual. We've got a full house tonight for Friday night 9 ball, and welcome to anybody who's there. Race to 7, and the winner's side, race to 4 and the 1 lost side. Room should be going up right now because it's gone beyond the hour. Now that is definitely a minute past 7 on my watch. There we go, rooms are up. So we've got Black Jagged against Chimpy, Fantastic Fox against Wanwa, Houdini against Cheeky Chico, LS3 against Travelling TT, Larry's playing Bankster, Dangerous Bankster with a handicap, Popman against John Boo, Stefan against Bedhead, and DJ Simon against Spectre Dawn. Now, because of the first match I went into last week and he played so badly, I'm going to go in and have a look at this Mr. Fox against Wanwa to see if Wanwa could play any better, because he was nothing short of awful last Friday night, and I don't think he'd play any worse. He's got to be a better player than what he played last week, so I'm going to see how he does against Mr. Fox. Welcome to Spectre. Well, the sad news is, and the only line I could think of is, like a bat out of hell, poor old Meatloaf has parked his bike and left the building, which was a bit of a shock this morning. 74 years of age. He's just about getting to the right age. He could have joined the Rolling Stones, because they're all older than him, and they're still going, apart from Charlie Watts, that is. Good evening to Chimpy, not Cloggy. So, we're going to go in and have a look at this match with Mr. Fox against Wanwa, and it's a scratch match. I'll put the cloth colour to blue. Like I say, Wanwa was in the first match last week. Again, my memory is so bad I can't remember who he was playing, but I want to see if we can at least put up a little bit better performance than they did last week. Basically, did everything wrong and threw it away. And the other thing as well is, to a lot of people who do not actually pay a lot of heed to what's happening in the pool world, that is a new world record for a straight pool. Now, William Moscone held a record for umpteen years. It was 526, I think it was. And that was then beaten by, what's his name, Schmidt, who I think got 626, or roundabout there, give or take a ball or two. But about 2 days ago, or 3 days ago, it took a Scot to actually break the record. I think it took him about 11 hours all told, in between maybe the odd bathroom break and maybe a quick freshen up. But Jason Shaw from Scotland is now the new world record holder for straight pool with a run of 714, and he scratched on the 715th ball or on the break shot, I can't remember, but that is going to take some beating. I mean, that's incredible, to keep your concentration so much for such a long time, and it's going to take some run by anybody who's going to attempt to beat that. There was a There was a challenge that was on a couple of weeks ago, I think. I can't remember the name of the thing, but I saw some of it on YouTube. Although when you were watching people, you didn't really have an idea what they were actually running. But the one I saw was Earl the Pearl. And then I saw it on Facebook, a post 2 or 3 days ago there, that Jason Shaw has come up trumps and now holds a record. So Mr. Fox at the table on the 4 ball, and he's running into the 5, and he's not knocked it safe, but he should be out now as long as he doesn't hook himself behind the 9. Let's have a quick drink. And let's hope my voice can hold out for the duration, because it was getting rough last week. Well, I think he was concentrating so much not to do something silly on the 9 ball that he's forgotten about the 5. Well, one was not going to have any better chance than this to finish this first rack. Again, same thing, just bring the cue ball up past the 9 ball and just roll this in through the cue ball, goes to the rail and comes back out. The straighter the better on this 7 ball, and that is perfect. And now just stone dead kill is the order of the day. So the first real mistake from Mr. Fox. But that's what can happen when you're playing a shot. Even though it was a simple 5 ball, in the back of his mind he was just worried about doing something daft with the cue ball and running behind that 9. And that's what took his concentration off the matter in hand. But no sooner has one won the rack than he scratched on the break. And Mr. Fox has to respond. Wide open table. And should be out. Well, again, ideally he just wants to roll this in so he's pretty straight in the 3 and he can roll through far enough, but not too far. You've always got to remember you need that angle. And the other problem is this 9 ball again, and he's gone a bit straight here. He's going to probably have to leave this long. You know, he's managed to bring it down, but he's also avoided the 9. Good evening to Cobra. Well, what chance has anybody got in VP4 of trying to match Jason Shaw's run of 714? Well, nobody can, because VP4 straight pool only goes to 500. So what I was thinking is we could have had a challenge event over maybe, you know, a couple of weeks or whatever, to see who could get the highest run. But when I checked in straight pool, VP4 only goes to 500, so there's nobody going to beat Jason Shaw's total. Good evening to Mark. Now, from what I read in the post on Facebook, well, Mr. Fox has missed a 9 ball, and one should just be potting this left corner pocket, and if he overcuts it, he's going to leave it in the top rail. That would be the shot, because that way it's a sort of 2-in-1 shot. Well, he's gone the other way. That's excellent. That's a good steal. So 2 mistakes. The thing is that obviously if somebody was going to try a straight pool challenge, it's not going to be registered in the stats. That's the problem. you basically have to go in a room and do it and attempt it, but you need to have some sort of witness. But it would be an interesting challenge. Well, one was escaped there. I think he tried some sort of half-hearted combo in the 9. But it's 2 errors from Mr. Fox that's cost him. $5 a turn with a monthly prize. He needs to explain that a bit more. Oh well, not all 16 players turned up, because Potman hasn't shown, I don't think. Well, obviously looks that he hasn't shown. John Boo's won by forfeit. Meanwhile, Wanwa has a chance and an angle to get between that 6 and 7 for the 2 ball into the same pocket. And I think he's overhit that. Again, the touch and weight a shot. Too heavy. Well, I mean, $5 are you talking about? You're not talking about cash money, because that'll never happen. Even though I've got a PayPal account and everybody can put their money in it and I'll hold it for them, because I can be trusted. Oh, $V. Well, put it this way, if it was a challenge, you can't do that when you think about it, unless you're just you can't even transfer funds to anybody, so there's no way you can do it. It has to be in some sort of match room. But how do you register the $V? That's the question there. The immediate problem with that is you have to be in a room against somebody, and the person that you're up against isn't even involved. It's just you trying to make a high run. So I don't see how that'll ever work. Like I say, he needs to explain it a bit more and how it's working in his head, because I can't work it out. And I posted in the lobby the other night there about Jason Shaw's high run, and Stubb piped up and said he beat that, no problem. He's been moaning about the pockets in straight pool. He says he wants, and I don't understand Stubb's logic at all. Stubb was going on about messaging Steve that the pockets are too loose on the straight pool tournament. Well, his high run was only 72, and the pockets were the same size last year. And he says he plays better in tight pockets. I've never heard so much dumb logic in all my life. Which just goes to actually prove that if you don't play straight pool the right way, you don't get high runs. Or you don't get a high run that challenges the high runs in the tournament. Simple as that. So the pockets could be twice the size. If you can't get to the spot, you'll still not do the high run, regardless of the size of the pockets. But to say that you'll play better with the pockets tighter is dumb. And what's more dumb is that there was more than him agreed with it. Not mentioning names, but one of the guys is actually in this match right now. I'm not going to point the finger. I'll say no more, but I think you'll guess who I'm talking about. Yeah, but if you enter a room by yourself, you're not putting $V up for anything. You can't do that. That's the point I'm making. As I say, that needs to be explained a bit better. Anyway, regardless of that, it's 3-0 to Wanwa. So this is a better start for him than last week. Aye, they did. The £1,000 bonus was for the high run in the tournament. And Semi-Pro got that. What was you doing last year, Mark? Do you not remember? There's the voice going already. That was what the £1,000 the $1,000 was for, the highest run in the tournament. And Semi-Pro won it. At least that's the way I see it. Well, Mr. Fox looking for a response. He's going to have to get good on this 5-ball, and he's going to have to dig right into the 3, get lots of draw, and doesn't want to scratch the side. And this is a one that can go wrong. He's just got to dink this along the rail, and the cue ball's going to come out, and just hold it so he doesn't do anything behind the 7. And the closer you end up going to rails, the less you can do with the cue ball. Well, I think you just play this plain ball. You don't try to be fancy. Just plain ball, you're going to be in the middle of the table. Good evening to Slim. I take it you heard that Jason Shaw's got the new straight pull high run record, Slim. Jason Shaw brackets a Scotsman. 714 is a new world record. The thing I was also mentioning is that this was actually filmed, as was the John Schmidt one, I was told, but nobody's ever seen it. But this run by Jason Shaw took about 11 hours, as far as I'm aware, and he made 714, which surpasses a record by Schmidt of 626, which I think beat William Mosconi's by 100. His was 526 for however many years it was. But Jason Shaw now is the new holder of that, and when I read the post, it did mention that there was cameras there, but there's no video evidence been seen so far. I've been on YouTube. Well, at least I haven't been on looking today for it, but I was on immediately. I read the post to see if there was anything. But if anybody had recorded that and wanted to upload it to YouTube, it would take not only hours to upload it, but it would take days for it to actually process that size of file. So, Mr. Fox getting off the mat, one at the table. Now again, he could go all out for the pot here, but he's got a chance of playing a half-decent safety. If he's going to try and hold for the 3, he's got to just roll this in gentle. Well, he's had a slam. He's got lucky, fluked to another ball, and he's lying plumb in the 2. No, I haven't, Mark. I haven't checked her at all, because I can't remember where you said to look. Was it Facebook you said? What are you talking about for the world record, Cobra? That's a bit pointless, because I believe most straight pool tournaments in the States are like a race to 150. Steve will confirm that if there's any query about it. I think most straight pool tournaments are race to 125, race to 150. So very often what happens is, if it's the pros that's playing, you lose the toss, you're put into break, and then you sit in your chair and then you pack your cue away. because the guy comes in and he runs 150 or 125 and out, which happens not on a regular basis, but it does happen quite a lot. But as I say, you're not going to. You have to have these high run challenges, because that's what the Will Moscone thing would have been exactly the same. It's never going to happen in a match. You think about it. If you were going to have a straight pool match, it would have to be a race to like 750, and then you'd sit there for like 10, 11 hours watching that. The other guy sitting in his chair waiting in his turn. It's never going to happen. Well, that's the great thing about sport in general. If somebody sets a new record, there's always somebody else willing to have a go. Somebody will come along and have a go at it. Well, one was now 4-1 up. The high run in VP4, was that, I don't know whether that was one in a room on his own, but was that one that Cobra did? Not in the tournament, was it not 190 something? 198 was it? 187. Oh, there's a chance to skim that one ball and try and drop behind the 9. Just feather that one ball and run it off 2 rails. Again, one was touch is like a sledgehammer. He has not got the touch. You got to get the feel for the weight of shot. And it's an easy kick on this one ball. He can go up and down the tables, get a chance, or he might even pot it. In fact, I think he can get an edge of it. Well, that's going to be ball in hand, because he's hit the rail, then hit the ball, and then never hit the rail again. So one was now got ball in hand. Yeah, how long did that take you? Because it was, I think they said it was like 54 racks, I think, to get to 700 odd. I mean, that's incredible. You think about how things can go wrong when you break a set of balls. He's ran 54 racks in a row. I mean, that's just incredible. Meanwhile, one was going a bit straight in this 2 ball. Now, again, if he just dinks this in, he can bring the cue ball out. The 3 ball goes into the side. Now, he actually just wants to stun this a wee bit so that he doesn't go forward. He's playing a draw shot. You see, just, again, not get into it far enough. Now, this is dangerous because he could skim the 3 and then skim the 4 and scratch. He's hit the 4 ball pretty much full. That'll do it. Yeah, Baker Maker doesn't play in it. Well, he's obviously from the States, Baker Maker. He's occasionally on early in the morning my time, you know, like 6 o'clock or something, which is probably midnight around about that his time. He's occasionally online when I'm up early for a game of cowboy doubles and stuff like that when my day's off, and he's not around an awful lot. He might be when I'm in bed, but I don't see him playing VP4 an awful lot. He's certainly in fact, it was Baker Maker that humped me 3-0 in the straight pool world not straight pool, in the cowboy world championship. I had one shot in the 1 ball to win a rack, missed that, and I think he gubbed me in the other 2 racks. Mind you, that was in the 9-foot table, in my defence. I don't play cowboy in a 9-footer. There's the result through. Cheeky Chico has beaten Houdini 7-2. Baker Maker is a good player. Very solid. Well, here's a gift horse here. There's no way he can cop this up. 7 and 8 and the 9 ball. Well, this is where you just jab this in and come down the middle of the table. You don't go forward, you just need to use the angle. You don't need to draw it or do anything. You see, he's drawn it to the side rail just to make it more difficult. You just bring the cue ball up the middle of the table. But it's going to be 5-1. And this is a turnaround from last week. But like I say, Wanma couldn't have played any worse than he did last week in that first match we watched. And then he disappeared. And then he did come back for the one loss side. Well, a ball in the break. And, oh well, he's actually too straight on this one ball. I mean, he can actually just punch this through and bank it up the table and still leave the cue ball behind the 3 and 6. I don't know what he's doing here. He looks like he's trying to cut this onto the 5. No, he's trying to use them that way, but it was never a good angle to do it. Yeah, I think he was. He was more than that. He was bloody awful. That's how he was. Well, he's definitely sobered up, but he could have played a better shot there. Now, a little billiard. Now, this is going to be slightly awkward because he can get out for the 2, but the 2 is tight past the 9. I mean, it's comfortable if you get a good angle on it, but the big problem is that 3, because I don't think it's going anywhere fast. Semi-pro, did you hear? I don't know whether you've heard, but you heard the new straight pool world record by a Scotsman, Jason Shaw, 714. Took him about 11 hours. Well, Mr. Fox might nail Wanwa here if he can squeeze that past the 6. Then again he can't. It's too tight. Now, this is where you use the 6 ball as a stopper and just run, if we can get my line to work, just run the cue ball that way and bring it down here behind the 9. Something like that. Even if you don't cover it, you'll still leave an awkward shot. Well, again, Mr. Fox can bank the 3 or try and send the cue ball in behind the 4. He could have banked the 3 behind the 4, but I don't think he's quite got there either. Or has he? No. This is the problem with this shot is if Wanma gets this too thin, he's not going to move the 3 ball very far. He's going to leave it on. You know, he can only see an edge of that 3, so he's going to skim it unless he hits it hard and the cue ball starts running. The 3 ball's still going to be there or thereabouts. See, that's the thing. He had to play it harder. And that's not a bad result because it's not easy. Pressure's on. Mr. Fox trailing by 4 racks to 1. Yeah, they're not easy to judge the angle, but he's maybe got away with it. Well, it will cut back, but again the cue ball's running all over the place. He's had a go, and this is Mr. Fox's chance. Cue ball's running, and when it runs, it can run into a pocket. And this is, well, this is a must, isn't it? Trailing by 4 racks to 1, ball in hand, all the balls there. And that could have been played a bit better. He's left it a wee bit short. No problem getting a shot in the 6, just needs to focus the cut. I mentioned, I think, before you, well, that's what happens when you leave an awkward cut. There is the post I was reading. Dave Knight is a guy who I subscribe to on Facebook. He has the Pro 9 website, which does all stuff about pool, and he posted the news about the high run, and it was mentioned that there were cameras there. But like I said, also in the post it mentioned that John Smith's high run of 626, which was the previous record, was also recorded, but it's never been seen. It's not posted anywhere. And likewise with this one, if it is recorded, I think it'll be a long while before you'll see anything, unless they decide to bring it out in DVD or something like that. But I had a trawl through YouTube the other day, and I only saw a post on YouTube. I saw a blog where guys were talking about it and stuff like that, but there was nothing else on YouTube. Well, Mr. Fox had his chance, blew it in the 4 ball, didn't get good on it, left the awkward cut, and he's now 6-1 down. And one that hasn't really had to work an awful lot for this, because most of it's all from Mr. Fox's errors. And I think this is, well, there's a slight angle on it. He's trying to stun it in. I'll try to sort of drag the pace off it, but now the 3 obviously doesn't pass the 4. And he's trying to come around for a combo. Well, this is not easy. No, you're talking about real life here, semi-pro. I mean, in amongst all of that, he's had to have bathroom breaks, something to eat, maybe take a couple of minutes rest, wipe his face down, all sorts of stuff going on. And you think about that, about actually keeping your concentration for whatever length of time it took him. It's incredible. That's the marathon of pool, that is. Staying at the table that length of time. Ball after ball, rack after rack, 54 racks of pool. That's a good shot. And that's exactly what you need to do with your opponent when you're 6-1 up on them. Get them buried. So not a difficult hit. And that's going to be a shot into the side pocket. And again, if he just drops it in dead weight, he's going to be on the 5. He doesn't need to bring the cue ball out, just drop this in dead weight. And some sort of little angle to get that cue ball away from the rails off this 6 ball. And again, he's gone pretty straight. And he can just punch this through off the short rail and the side rail and back into the table. Again, dead straight. Now, the danger here would be to go forward and try and come down past the 9 ball. you could end up running into the 9-baller with no shot. And, well, to avoid that, he's missed the 7. So it's last chance saloon for Mr. Fox. And he's pretty close to the rail, so he's limited what he can do here. He's going to have to go forward, try and get behind that 8, and that will do nicely. But it's going to be a good comeback to wrest anything out of this match. And Bedhead has gone through against Stefan, 7 racks to 4. With the 8-ball, I think it's going. And it's a little fiddly one in the 1-ball, but he should, as long as he avoids running into the 2, he should have a shot in the 2 into this bottom left-hand corner, but that's ifs and buts and maybes. Well, he's run into the 5 instead. And now he's got no shot other than just to push this through and lock 1 up against the 5, which seems fairly straightforward to do. Well, he hasn't really got there. He needed a wee bit of top on that to get that nailed against that 5-ball. And this is an easy jump. Well, Wanwa doesn't fancy it though. He's trying to sneak behind the 7. No, he's not. He's trying to lock up the 7, which is not bad thinking. Another result through, and DJ Simon has got used to that handicap, and he's taken Spectre Dawn out in a final rack decider, 7 racks to 6. So Spectre Dawn's up against it tonight. And Mr. Fox pulling out all the shots here to survive. Again, this is going to have to be well controlled, this cue ball, to have a shot in the 6. And the safest way would be across the table and back out. But can't miss the 5. Well, he's trying to hold it, and he's done well. And that's good pace also. So the comeback is on. He's got to keep potting balls. It's dry. 2-ball hidden away in that side rail. It's going to be a problem to get to it, and I think it's pretty tight as well, that 2-ball. Yeah, that's nailed to the rail. So that's going to be a problem for whoever gets there. Well, this is a shot to nothing here, this 1-ball. You play the cut to cut that 1. The cue ball comes down, and if you can get it into the corner, you can have a shot in the 2. At least that's the commentator's plan. Whether the players get the same idea, we're about to find out. Well, It needs a nice little kiss off the 3 without scratching. And, oh, what is that? Nailed to the 4. Can he get past the 4? I think he's okay. The only problem is he's just going to have to run through as much as he dare without scratching. Oh! He's hanging on by the skin of his teeth here, but he played the shot I spoke about. The angle and the line was there to get around the table and down into the bottom corner here for that 2-ball. And don't forget, that 2-ball was right nailed on that cushion. Well, now he's got the option to break out here. Does he take the risk? He might not get the chance off the 5. He needs to ride his luck here, I think, that he's going to have a shot in the 5. And he hasn't taken the chance. And he's hit the 7. Well, maybe he should have, because Wanwa now has his chance with ball in hand, but he's still got to deal with the 6. And I think, well, sometimes you just have to take your medicine. He might have been better just to pot the 5 and leave a cut in the 6. I think he's trying to run this into the pocket and run the cue ball. Well, when you're ball, oh dear me, dear me. And he's certainly getting the run of the ball there. Flukes the 5 ball. And Bankster has gone through against Larry. I told you when I looked at that bracket, and Wanwa's missed a sitter on the 6. Well, I hope that's not the alcohol kicking in, because he's making mistakes at the wrong time here, Wanwa. It should be 6-4. Yeah, Bankster's always dangerous with that handicap. Well, another little tester. Well, now it's getting interesting. Can Wanwa hold his nerve if he gets another chance? Mr. Fox with the break in rack number 11. And it's dry again, I think. Although Wanwa doesn't have a shot. Well, he should be pushing out, I think. And that was poor. Good evening to Bedhead. I'm telling everybody I know, did you hear about the new world record, Bedhead? You must have heard it by now. I'm telling everybody because it was a Scotsman that did it. And LS3 goes through in a final rack decider as well against Travelling TT, whoever that is. Or whoever they were before they changed their name. If that's the case. Well, Mark, I think that's a certainty. That ain't going to happen. The odds are stacked in favour of somebody beating that 714 before Scotland ever do anything in a World Cup. Well, Mr. Fox cannot afford a mistake at this point. Now it's got to be 3 rails and back into the table, around behind the 6. And he's going to end up stuck in the rail again, I think. Well, it's another tester. Just hampered over that corner of the rail there. Well, the simple shot, you know what that is. Just roll it through to the 8 ball on the side. And if you've got the right angle, you can run up the table for the 9 into this same pocket. And he hasn't. He's going to have to go forward to the side rail. Well, one was at squeaky bum time here, as they say, because Mr. Fox is going to be 1 behind with the break, and it's about time he got a ball in a shot, because his break so far has been a bit crap. If he'd been breaking better, it might end up a different result. I don't think he's really had an awful lot of fortune in the break, and I don't think he's got any more luck here. It's dry again. I think he's had, what, 3 breaks at least? Maybe more than that. And they're all dry. They're not saying what, I haven't heard what he died of. I'm just saying he passed away. They're not saying, I haven't read anything that says what the problem was. I was saying earlier there that you know, Meatloaf was just getting to the age where he could have joined the Rolling Stones, because he was still younger than all of them that are in the Rolling Stones. Well, Mr. Fox's destiny is in his own hands here. All the balls are there. Doesn't want to mess this up and then just gift it to Wanwa. Yeah, it must have been terminal, whatever it was. Well, it obviously was, but it obviously must have been a diagnosis side. Well, ideally you want to just be on this into the side pocket. I think the angle he's got in the 7 wants to take him away from the 8 ball, so he'd be better off running down. And again, he's made the blunder. Well, Wanwa has been handed this in a plate. It's been error after error. Well, I wouldn't be saying ouch. I'd be trying to pot these 3 balls. Or was it COVID? I thought he had. I thought he was. You know. I thought he had chest problems anyway. Meatloaf. Well, that's perfect. Just to drop through onto the 9. And this has been a sellout from Mr. Fox. Oh, what's happened to Larry? Larry's bailed out. Larry's had enough. And Wanwa goes through. All thanks to all the mistakes by Mr. Fox. What's happened to Larry? More to the point, is Potman actually here? Because I don't think he was a... I think he was a no-show, wasn't he? He forfeited... Oh no, there he is. He's in the lobby. What the hell happened with Larry and Potman? Somebody needs to find out what happened there. Or did Larry do a stub and bail out before Potman hit the last ball? Somebody find out. Good evening to Napnicker, good evening to Wit, and anybody else that I've missed. Anyway, Wanma has gone through. Mr. Fox is now playing Stefan in the one-loss side, as is Spectre Dawn, who's playing Travelling TT. And DJ Simon is playing LS3. Let's nip in and have a look at that one, because that match should be well underway. Oh no, it isn't. We're just into the second rack. But DJ Simon is getting a 7 ball. Yeah, Larry was in the stream. Larry, are you still there? What the hell happened? He was in the stream earlier, was he not? Aye, because he was Larry was the first person to tell me I was talking away and I had my mic muted. Now, this is a wee bit fiddly because of the angle. Yeah, and the angle was never going to get you in a good line for the 5 by just stunning it to there. The 5 obviously cuts, the cue ball's running around, he should be on the 6, but it all hinges on this 5. Now, how's his luck? His luck was pretty good. Well, he was always going to end up doing that at that pace. Not difficult to hit the 5. There's a gap behind the 6. In fact, there's a gap to kick it. And LS3 should be in dire straits here in a second or two. And that now, again, there's a good line to get to this 5 ball. Could be a 1 rail or a 2 rail kick. But DJ Simon, remember, only needs to get to the 7 ball. No, because it'll end up exactly the same. I mean, you look at what's happened. We've had this, what do you call it? This variant that we've had, and before too long there'll be another one. And then they'll be back to square one again. You know what? It's going to take them. You know, it can take them years to get a proper vaccine. I'm talking about a proper one. I'm not talking about 3 injections every couple of weeks, the way they're going on at the moment. So we're tied up at 1 rack all. DJ Simon at the table now. Is it going to have to be a combo? Yes, it is. Now again, the combo's not that difficult. The problem is where the 3 ball's going, and that'll do it. That's the right pace. And the 3 onto the 7, which is DJ Simon's money ball, takes care of that rack. I mean, I'll tell you how daft it is. I mean, I went to Brownings the Bakers today when I got home from work, and this is a local one in Kilmarnock in my town. And on the door, there's a big sign on the door, and it tells you no more than 3 customers in the store. So I'm standing outside the shop, right, and there's there's 3 people already in the store, so I'm waiting outside the door, and a woman comes out, so I go in, and I haven't hardly set foot in the store in the bakery, and there's another 3 guys coming behind me, paying absolutely no attention to the note on the door. So instead of having 3, we had 6 all standing in a queue. 3 of which didn't have any masks on in the store, and again, the women behind the counter not doing anything, not saying have you read the sign in the door? We're limiting to 3 in the store. Didn't say anything. That's what you're having to deal with. You're having to deal with ignorant idiots round about you. You know, you're relying on common sense from people, but the vast majority of people haven't got an ounce of common sense. But this vaccine thing could take years for them to get a proper vaccine. That's why a vaccine coming out like, so many months after they've discovered this thing is it's more like a placebo than anything else, because you've still got people catching it and dying from it even when they've had injections. So don't kid yourself. Do not kid yourself. And then there was a report the other week there that people that have had more than their fair share of colds, and of which I'm one of them, have a better resistance to COVID. And then, of course, they put the disclaimer at the end of the sentence saying you're still better off having the vaccine. Well, LS3 is going to square the match. This sort of thing, these viruses take years of work. You think all the things that have been eradicated, it takes years to get a proper, bona fide, does what it says on the tin, proper vaccine. Well, LS3, dry break, look at this table. As long as you can move that cue ball in the right direction, you're going to be on the next ball, and that's not going to be it, because that's not where you want to be. Well, LS3 is now going to have a chance to take the lead. Well, the rule is the same every time. You keep it as simple as you can for the next ball. Now, you don't want to stun this firm to try and get straightish on that 6 ball into the side, because you could easily scratch. So LS3's kept it simple. So it's going to have to be a wee bit of a kill shot here, I think. She's going to run around and run to the rail. No, it's a bit of a kill shot. Well, a nice firm stun draw like that will do it. And Spectre Dawn is having to battle through that one lost side. He's gone through against Travelling TT by 4 racks to 1. When obviously there are people that are much higher risk with things like COVID, anything that's going to affect your respiratory system. If you're an asthmatic, then you're red alert. You know, things like that. People who are chesty are the people who need to be really, really careful. It's bad enough having having asthma, but when you then throw in a virus, that's going to scratch. Well, these are the type of opportunities when you're gifted them. You've simply got to be taking them. Simon, 3-2 down. Everything is there. Where can it go wrong? Well, it can go wrong straight away here if he hooks himself behind the 7. And he's avoided that. And of course, it's the 7 ball for the rack to square the match. Well, Larry must have left the building. In fact, Popman's not in the stream, isn't he? Not. I haven't seen him tonight. I was going to ask him what the hell happened in his match. Well, again, as long as Simon can get a nice angle in the 6, which he has got, he can go a couple of rails and get out into the table for the 7. And avoid the 8. Well, it was only the pace of that pushed that 8 ball out the way there. But very quickly, Simon has got himself back in the lead. Well, I mean, in the UK, if you're over 50, the National Health Service send you a letter for your flu jab every winter, of which I've never had one. And as I said, of course, I've never had a COVID injection either. And I've been riding my luck since it started. But I've been wearing my mask, disinfecting my hands at work, doing all the things you're told to do. As I say, the worry is not what you're doing, it's what the people around you are doing. And whether I had something over the last couple of weeks, I don't know. The symptoms weren't exactly with, or they weren't in line with what COVID's been. Well, I did have a phase there where I wasn't really tasting food that well. And my bones and everything were sore. My back was sore, my neck was sore, my shoulders and forearms and everything were sore. And just generally felt that I'd been hit by a bus. Well, we know where the problem lies here. The problem's not the 4 and the 5. And LS3's took the big risk there, because now she's got a really tough 5 ball. And the pressure's on, trailing by 4-3. And that's going to scratch. And Simon again has been gifted ball in hand, the 5, the 6 and the 7 for a 2-rack lead. Well, this is going back to what I've been saying. I mean, vaccines don't get discovered in a few months and then get rushed through to get put onto the market. It's just a money cow. That's all it is for these pharmaceutical companies. That's what it is. Whenever there's a crisis, there's always a dollar to be made. And what was that I was reading the other day, that during this COVID pandemic, like the richest people in the world have got even bloody more richer. And that's not a coincidence. But that's exactly what it is. It's just a way to earn money in a crisis. There's always somebody going to benefit during something like this, and it ain't going to be you or I. No way. But the race was on to see who could bring something out onto the market. And then governments are paying them millions for the privilege. That's what it's all about. It doesn't matter how many people die the damn thing. It's how much money's rolling in. I mean, governments couldn't really give a shit as to how many people are dying. They'll say the right things, but it's just somebody lining their pockets. I mean, and then of course when you come to this country and you look at our government and our Prime Minister all partying, not giving a shit, well, what does that tell you about how really much they care? They could not give a damn. Mr. Fox goes through in the one-loss side. Well, there's going to be a battle to get through in that one-loss side. Mr. Fox has taken out Stefan. And meanwhile, LS3 trailing by 2 and got to find a way to get on this 5-ball. Now there's a 2-railer, maybe a 3-railer to get on the 5, but now does it squeeze past the 9? Oh, I don't think that was a shot. It should have been a 3-railer to get over here. Well, convince me that goes. Where's the cue ball ended up? Well, Simon now has a great opportunity to get to the hill. But the problem there is he's going to have to thin cut the 5, run up and down the table to try and get on that 6, I think. I don't think he can do much else. Got to get the pace right. Pace looks good. Pace looks pretty good. Now, he could play, it looks even better for the billiard than any combo. It looks much better for the billiard off that. Well, I don't think he even considered it. But would you believe it? He's got away with it. And Houdini has taken out Black Jagged. Oh, that's going to drop in. Well, there's a bit of luck for LS3. She needed that. But she's got even more of a problem because it's DJ Simon's money ball that she's on now. And look at the shot she's left. This is a toughie. Well, that was a question I posed last week. Why did Steve bring in Filipino rotation when nobody's ever heard of it over here? I don't think many's heard it in the States. And people have been talking about I mean, Chinese 8 ball's a tough game, but you need another new table into VP4 for that, because you can't play Chinese 8 ball on one of these tables. That's not the way it's designed. And Killer is probably one of the most popular games that's been asked for. And meanwhile, LS3 is going hell for leather to survive. Digs out a cracking bank in the 8 ball. And lives to fight another day. Well, all of us that play Cowboy have heard of it. But I mean, that was the other question to ask: is who's all been playing this Filipino rotation since Steve added it? I don't think there's anybody had a second glance at it. In fact, I'll tell you something else. In all the years I played VP3, and to a lesser extent VP4, I've never played rotation as a game on its own. Not once have I ever played it. Not a single time. Well, LS3. Nice angle in this 4. Maybe a tiny feather right to check this cue ball, just to stop it and bring it down this middle of the table. Now it needs to slow up because you don't want it to be nailed to the rail. Well, this is full-blooded big stun on this 5 ball, because if you're trying to run round rails with this, there's too much traffic in the way here, and the angle is a bit narrow on the 5, so it's got to be a big dig. And the stun, and again, it's going to have to be a firmish stun or just run around the corner. But you want to get a good angle in this 7 to get a better chance of getting in the 8. And that isn't it. Because obviously the 8 doesn't go past the 9. So LS3 is very limited here. And of course the pressure is on, because if he misses this 7 ball and leaves it on, Simon's winning the match. Sorry, Simon's on the hill. I'm getting excited. No, that's a good shot. Well, where's the cue ball? I think she's okay. But it's another testy one. Watch the cue ball. Well, it's just basically got to be plain ball for the pot. But just keep your eye on the cue ball. She's putting a bit of right on it. And it's just going to stay in the table. I think you don't have to hit a rail if you're snookered, a bit like black ball or something like that. Is that not what Steve was talking about? You know, if you're having to play a kick shot to kick a ball, you can kick the ball, but you don't have to get a ball to a rail. I believe that is the interpretation. That's one of the differences. There's another one as well, which I can't remember. Something like that. But for anybody wondering how to play it, you have to choose rotation, because I've had a look. You choose rotation as a game, and then you get into the advanced options, I think, to choose Filipino rules. I think that's what you have to do. That's why you don't see it listed as a game in VP4. So if you're scrolling up and down looking for Filipino rotation, it isn't there. You have to choose rotation and then go in, I think, to the advanced settings. Well, Simon on this the 7. Now, what's he looking for here? A big thin cut of the bank. It looks like the bank. And that's, is it going to hold the line? Yes, it is. So Simon has won away. Well, Semi-Pro, I don't know whether you were around. I don't think you were when the VP4 was in testing. And Steve did a graphics update for the game while we were in testing, but it got dropped very rapidly because it was lagging up the game and the balls looked as if they were floating in the cloth of the table. Chinese 8-ball is played on, I think it's a 10-foot table, but it's like a 10-foot snooker table, but the pockets are tight. You know, it's got proper net pockets. There's loads of videos on YouTube, Cobra. Just go onto YouTube, you'll see loads of sponsored tournaments on there, and you'll see what the table looks like. It's bloody tough. I know, because I've tried it in Shooter's Pool. They've got a very nice Chinese 8-ball table in Shooter's Pool, and it is a damned hard game. Which is why I think players would really like Chinese 8-ball a lot more than they're ever going to have a look at rotation. You know. It's a far tougher challenge, Chinese 8-ball. That's a nice little cut. Cue ball running loose, and he's now going to be well hampered to try and do anything with this 3-ball. Well, LS3 could go all out for the cut onto the 6-ball with this 3. I would love Chinese 8-ball to be in VP4, but as I say, you couldn't have Chinese 8-ball in VP4. Where's that cue ball going? Well, that's a poor one from LS3. Well, I'm assuming she played the cut. I was too busy reading the chat there. Oh yeah, it's much harder. Very much harder. And the biggest difference is the pockets, because it's rounded pockets, the same as snooker, but they're not much wider than a ball's width for the ball to go in. Not an awful lot more. Well, Simon hasn't really kicked that safe, and LS3 has a chance to take this all the way. Well, across the table twice, got to be a shot in the 8. And that's perfect. Little dink to pot the 8-ball. You don't need to worry about the cue ball, it's coming in the right direction. Just hit it plain ball. So we are going all the way. What we're talking about, numerical order. Chinese 8-ball isn't numerical order. Is that what we're saying? It's just the same as 8-ball in the fact that you're either in the spots or the solids. I say the biggest problem is the size of the pockets. And I think it's a slightly bigger table. I think it's a 10-footer. I could be wrong. No, I mean, Samuel confirmed that Chinese 8-ball, as far as I'm aware, is the same as normal 8-ball. You know, you have a set of balls to go for. I say what makes it difficult is not the fact that, you know, the usual things that happen in 8-ball. What's so bloody difficult is trying to pot a ball. Well, LS3's got it tough now, because this cue ball, I don't know what, I think she's trying to, I don't know what she really tried to do there, but it was never done right, because if that was a little stun to kill the cue ball, she's not been through with the shot and just teed it up for DJ Simon. Well, he's got to jack up and just stun this in to try and kill the cue ball. He's going to run through it. Well, that wasn't the way to play it. He's left it tougher than he possibly could have, and that's why he's hung it up. And it's also why LS3 should be taking this out now. Where's the 8-ball finished? It's off the rail. And that wasn't the right shot by Simon. He had to stun that in to get control of the cue ball. Oh, now he's saying he was on the phone. And Chimpy has gone through against Cheeky Chico, 7 racks to 3. No, it's the fact that the Chinese 8-ball table is a smaller version of a snooker table. Get that image in your head, because it's the rounded corner pockets, and they're tight, much tighter than a snooker table pockets. As I say, barely that much bigger than a ball for the ball to go in, but not like Russian billiards, which are just ridiculous. Russian billiard pocket tables, the balls are bigger than the pocket. Well, LS3's dug out the bank, and she scraped through by 7 racks to 6. Right, so there's loads of results come through. Let's have a look at this bracket, because the tournament's moving on fairly rapidly again. Let's see where we've got to. On the winner's side, we've got Chimpy now playing Bankster. Bankster, the dangerous one with a handicap. I keep telling you guys that. He's about the only player who has a handicap that plays with common sense most of the time. And he's a dangerous player. He's still getting the 7-ball, and that is still dangerous against Chimpy. And meanwhile, let's try and get in and see 1-1 Bedhead. Final rack decider, and Bedhead is just finishing off the match. Well, there's Larry. What happened, Larry, with you and Potman? Did you take the huff and throw the toys out the pram? That's what we're all guessing. And Bedhead goes through. What I was saying is that Larry Control-Alt-deleted before Potman potted the final ball and went in the huff. So Bedhead is through to play LS3, and we're going to go in to see this match with Chimpy and Bankster. Oh, that's a line I've heard in Hollywood movies from the 1950s. So, we've got Bankster player 2 in the HUD getting the 7 ball. And is Chimpy awake here? Oh, there we go. I see a little bit of movement. Ah, right. He's in the toilet, is he? Well, that's almost as far as Popman goes to actually play a shot in VP4. Well, 2 balls straight into the left-hand corner pocket. I don't know whether he's got a shot in the one. No. Nope. Well, he can play the jump, obviously, or he can play the push right down onto that rail. The closer to the rail, the better, but the chances are you may well be put back in. So remember, Bankster is getting the 7 ball. That's what I need to remember because I keep forgetting. There's never a Friday night 9 ball goes by where I don't forget about the handicap. So Bankster has put Chimpy back in. You know what film was on again before I came up? I was downstairs getting something to eat. And guess what film was on again? Shane. With Alan Ladd and Jack Palance as a bad guy. Classic film. I've seen it 100 times. But then again, for most of you guys, that film was made in the mid-50s and probably not many of you watch the classic films. But I caught a good 25, 30 minutes of it again earlier on. Yep. He wasn't 4'10", he was taller than that, for God's sake. That's Munchkin size. 4'10". If that was the case, they had him walking around in stilts in every film he was ever in. 4'10". Well, Bankster, I keep saying he's dangerous with this handicap, and he wins the first rack, and he's also got the 3 ball in the break, a shot in the 1, and if he gets this right, he could have some sort of 2-9 combo here, although it's nowhere near set. But if he can get some sort of sight on it, and that won't be it, because he's ran straight into the 6, and now he's in trouble. Now, can he see the edge in this too? Well, he can't even do that. I was thinking he might have been able to play a billiard, but he's got it. The one thing he's got to do is move that 9 ball. That's the one thing he has to do. He doesn't want to leave a ball in hand with a 2-9 set. And again, the sensible shot. Lock up the 2 and the 4. Mark, are you still there? No, he's probably heading for bed. Do you ever watch that? See, when I finish my shift on a Saturday morning, I do a short shift on Saturday morning, right? And I get home about just after maybe 10 o'clock, What's that channel 81 again? The one that shows the old films on channel 81. What's it called? I've totally forgotten again. What the hell is it called? Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. They show old films and stuff. Number 81 on Freeview. Well, anyway, when I get home on a Saturday morning, I get in, I put the kettle on for a coffee and such, and I bung the telly on. I always switch it to 81 because on a Saturday morning, they actually have like a couple of hours where it's exactly like the Miners that I used to go to in the ABC cinema when I was a kid back in the sort of mid-70s. That's exactly how they do it, because they show stuff like they show what do you call them? That thing with Larry Buster Crab. Serials like that, and then they'll show a Children's Film Foundation film. And last week there was 2 films on, and guess who was in them? Dennis Waterman, made in like 1961, 62, and he was like 14 years old. What a shame. The thing that was on last week was a kart racing. Flash Gordon. Yeah, They do it as a presentation exactly like it was in the Miners on a Saturday, where we used to go. You would see the Three Stooges and stuff like that, and Flash Gordon and Champion the Wonder Horse maybe or whatever. But that's what they do on that channel on a Saturday morning. You want to watch it for a laugh, because the great thing to watch is to actually see who the young kids are that you still recognise. There was actually a film on the other day, on that channel, and I'm watching it, and I must have watched it for 25 minutes, right? And there was a housemaid in this. I can't remember the film, but there was a housemaid in it, and I'm looking at the woman who's playing the housemaid, and this was made in 1950 something, and I looked at it for 20 odd minutes, and then suddenly she was at the bottom of the stairs, and we got a closer look at her face. Guess who it was? Patricia Routledge. She was like a 14-year-old girl, and I'm saying, that's Patricia Routledge. I love watching stuff like that. That's how boring I am. I love watching old stuff for people that you now see now who were in programmes or films years ago that you maybe watched before but you never ever knew them. So Patricia Routledge was in this thing, and goodness me, you would hardly recognise her. It took me 20 minutes to work out who she was. But it's one of those things where you're watching, I know that face. I definitely know that face. And then the name came into my head. Well, I told you Bankster's dangerous. And the scoreline proves it. 2-0 up. And Mr. Fox has gone through on the one loss side. 4 racks to 1. And Chimpy has got to be careful. Because whenever you make that mistake with a 7-ball money ball, it's always a danger. But the 3 ball's a problem. And now he's got to play the draw. And he's got to leave this high to have any chance of getting to the cutting angle on that 3. He's got to leave it before the middle pocket. And even then it's going to be tight. Well, it certainly doesn't go past the 7, so I don't know what the plan was. He's going to try and just lock it up. So now Bankster, well, I don't think there's any way of getting to the 3 ball from there. He's trying to spin in the gap. Well, that's excellent. Although he hasn't left it safe, but he's got the hit. Well, Popman's going to go through this tournament with forfeits tonight because Wanwa has had enough. He's headed home and Popman goes through by forfeit on the one-loss side. Well, big miss there from Chimpy, and he's left the 3 on, and this is an open invitation for 3-0. Yeah, that's exactly what it is on that channel, Channel 81. That's exactly how they do it, because you get announcements from the cinema management, you know, telling people to stop throwing their sweetie papers down from the balcony, things like that, you know, as it goes for an ad break. But that's exactly what it is. If you're old enough like I am to remember this, what we used to call the minors, that's how it was called. I don't know how much it cost to get in. You know, it wasn't even a quid. It might have been 50 pence. But that's where we used to head on a Saturday morning regularly. Kept you off the street for a couple of hours. You'd come out about midday. I think it started at 10 o'clock. You'd be out after a couple of hours. No, Chimpy's got his original name. His name was Cloggy until I called him Chimpy in the stream, which was his name in VP3 all the years he was there. And it's now 3-0 to Bankster. And Houdini, with a big handicap no doubt, has beaten DJ Simon on the one-loss side, 4-0. Yeah, I remember tanners, I remember sixpences before they phased them out. I've probably still got one kicking about in the house. In fact, I'm pretty certain I do. I've still got some old pennies as well, you know, from 1914. They're over 100 years old now. I've got a couple of them. I've got an old threepenny bit. I've got some pfennigs lying about somewhere. Well, this is increasing the pressure on Chimpy. He's at the table and he has to deliver. Now, does a 5-ball go? Yes, it does. And he can't afford mistakes at all. And this 6-ball from that 5-ball is going to be tough to get good, that is. He has to have the angle so he can run down, and he has to come down the right side, and he's got to avoid the 8-ball. Well, I remember them, you know, it would be what, 1970 or 71, whenever it was, when they tried to, you know, they were teaching us litres and millimetres and all of that stuff at school. I never really get into litres and metres. I mean, all our road signs are in miles, because that's what the people want. We don't have kilometres an hour over here. If anything, that's another good reason for coming out of the bloody common market, as they called it, so we can keep our feet in inches and pounds and ounces. I'm all for that. Now, what's the angle like here? Well, Chimpy's odds on now to get off the mark, but needs a ball and a shot to get some bit of a foothold in this match. And this is what you're just hoping for. Give us a break, give me a ball, give me a shot. Four ball has gone, but no shot. Again, not easy to play a half decent push out here, because I mean, you could run down behind the 3 just into this bottom right hand corner, The 5 ball's a blocker up in the top left, and you'd be leaving a difficult cut in the one into the top right, in between the 8 and the 2. So somewhere down in this bottom right hand corner would be alright as a push out down there. But Chimpy doesn't see it that way. He's just trying to bail out with the jump, and he's going all out for the pot, and he's got it. Now how's his luck? Well, he's going to have to bail out again. Getting absolutely no assistance with the run of the ball here. And Spectre Dawn has scraped through against Cheeky Chico. He's hanging on to his fingertips as well. He's gone through 4 racks to 3 in the 1 loss side. But this time, Chimpy can't get the jump. And now, well, it's an easy billiard off the 5 to skim the 7 in, isn't it? It doesn't even matter if the 5 doesn't go, because as long as you get somewhere down here, you can just skim that 5 and brush the 7 in. But you've got to get to that 6 ball first, so not the 6 ball. Well, that's one way of doing things. Well, there was, I can remember the Three Stooges. I remember that, and I remember Flash Gordon was one of the things he used to show. And you would always see a Children's Film Foundation film, which would be about an hour and 10 minutes or something. You know, you'd have a full story, and it'd be usually daft things where the kids discover there's bad guys doing things, and they sort of foil the plot and all that. It was always the same sort of outcome. In fact, the other name that comes into my head that was in that film last week was Fraser Hines. He was a kid as well, along with Dennis Waterman. They were all child actors. That's where they started. You know, at 13, 14 years old. So they've been at it for, 50 odd years, the pair of them. Longer than that. Well, that was not the shot, because that's an absolute gift and a half for Bankster. Chimpy trying to play the delicate one off the 6 to go in behind the 7, and all he's done is gifted him a free goal. And it's going to be 4-1, and that's what pressure does with that handicap. You've got to get the shot right. Well, don't get mixed up with what you used to watch during the summer holidays, because that's where you can get mixed up. During the summer holidays back in the 70s, they used to show foreign language programs that were dubbed. And Mark will remember these. You get these. Oh God, there was the Singing Ringing Tree is a weird one. Belle and Sebastian. I used to like the song. I used to sing along with that. But I'll tell you something. Belle and Sebastian. Go onto YouTube, right, and Google and put in the search window the Singing Ringing Tree. You'll never see anything as weird as that. I think it was Polish or something. That's the weirdest program I've ever seen in my life. I swear to God. You type in the Singing Ringing Tree and you'll see a bit of an episode of that. That is weird. I mean, that the guys that made that were on something. They were smoking something at the time. There was also, what was that program? Heidi. There was a foreign language version of Heidi. There was what's that? The one that goes do 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 something horses. What was that one, Mark? I had a fancy song that I used to sing as well. Oh my God, I'm showing my age. Da, 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 da. I can't remember it, but it's something with horses. I don't know that was the name of the program, but that was the song. Anyway, Bankster, the most dangerous man with a handicap in VP4. he's 5-1 up. But no, not Black Beauty. This was a foreign dub thing. I used to watch that anyway, by the way. I used to watch Black Beauty. But, oh, I'll tell you, you won't see anything weirder than the singing ringing tree. It's just totally weird. It boggles the mind. You know, it's got funny animals in it and stuff like that. It's just stupid. Ah, nostalgia. You can't beat it. But you've got to be in your mid to late 50s to know what I'm talking about here, and Mark's the only one. I guarantee you, if you watch a bit of that singing ringing tree, you'll think, you know, these people's heads were wasted that made that programme. Yeah, Mark, you'll remember Calimero. It used to be on before Crossroads at 5:15 during the week. You remember Calimero? It's an injustice. It was weird as well. That was like a little black chick. I don't mean a black woman. I mean, was that the Robinson Crusoe tune? I see. I remember that one. I remember that as well. But remember Calimero? Put that into YouTube. That was a little chick with half an eggshell stuck in its head. Oh dear. I mean, we're talking weird stuff. Well, Bankster's got a toughie here because he's nailed to the rail. He's got an awkward 5, and there's not a lot he can do with the cue ball other than ride his luck here just to try and get it to the pocket and hold an angle. And that will do. I'm telling you, you'll all be on YouTube looking up Calimero and the singing ringing tree, and then come back and tell me that they aren't weird. And then you had things like the double deckers. Matt remembers that one. Get on board, get on board, da 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 on a London double decker bus. I can't remember the words, but that's the way the tune went. The double deckers, what a load of crap that was. We used to watch it. Well, Bankster is on the brink, and the only problem is going to be running into the 9-ball. Oh, Cobra must be a certain age. What age are you, Cobra? Because if you're old enough to remember the double deckers, you're in your 50s, no matter how much you lie. And then, of course, no, you're the same age as me. Well, that was always going to be the problem, that the 4 and the 9-ball. He was trying to play it delicate just to leave himself on the 6, but, well, Chimpy, in the place that nobody wants to be, the Last Chance Saloon. Then, of course, once all of those programmes were knocked in the head, along came Why Don't You? Why don't you? Why don't you? Why don't you just switch off your television set and go out and do something less boring instead? Used to watch that during the summer. Yeah, I used to watch Lassie. In fact, even before then, Matt, you'll remember the Banana Splits. La 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 la. Larry will remember them. He must have seen the Banana Splits. 1 banana, 2 banana, 3 banana, 4. Du, 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 du. Yeah. You can get all the tunes on YouTube. They're all there because I've already hunted them down years ago. I think that was the first thing I ever did on YouTube. Look up all the old crap that nobody's interested in. Yeah, the only problem with me being a singer is I can't remember the words, which isn't very good. Yeah, Mark's the way to look at the singing ringing tree. Now, 2-8 combo. How's his luck with the 2? That looks tight to me. In fact, it's too tight, so it's a long jump over the edge of the 5 ball. He's got a fairly good chance of getting this, but he has to get the low trajectory in the cue ball, so you have to keep the butt like that, and that's unlucky. It's just the pace that kept it out. I probably scared Larry away with my singing. Larry's gone. Oh, Tiswas, that was it. I mean, Swap Shop was so mainstream and middle of the road and middle class, and then Tiswas comes on. I only watched it for Sally James and Lenny Henry. Yeah, Tiswas was class. I mean, who doesn't remember the Bucket of Water song? We sing the song, the Bucket of Water song. Guapo me Guape Nuts. Yeah. John Gorman, out of the Scaffold. They had a hit with Lily the Pink back in the 60s. Yeah. I mean, Tiswas. This is Saturday. This is, what was it? This is something Watch and Smile. This is Saturday Watch and Smile. That's what Tiswas was. Oh, that was brilliant. I used to love it. Yep, Spit the Dog. Bob Carroll, geez, and Spit the Dog. And yeah, it was just chaos, so it was. But that's what the kids loved. Kids loved it. It was really popular. It was streets ahead of Swap Shop, which was 2 BBC, you know, the typical BBC thing in those days. But Tiswas came along and it was chaos. Chris Tarrant, Sally James. Well, Bankster on the brink, and he's got to be delicate with this one as well. It's that angle again in the 6. Just got to let it run in. And he's almost held it. And this is what a 7-ball money ball handicap can do for you if you don't play like a numpty. It puts the pressure on right from the off, and Bankster goes through. 7 racks to 2. I keep telling you, stay away from Bankster when there's a handicap around, because he's gone through and he's going to play the winner of Bedhead in LS3, which is on the brink as well. Let's get in. Yeah, the leather waistcoat, yeah, I remember that. The Phantom Flan Flinger, oh yes. You know, they'd just be talking about something, they'd be doing some sort of article, and the next thing you know, there'd be the Phantom Flan Flinger comes out and slap right across the face. I mean, that, you think about it, that studio must have been a complete mess every weekend once they were finished. You know, Gunge and all. And then, of course, you had everybody that was in the cage. Remember that? You had all the ones that were in the cage getting gunged and buckets of water flung over them for 2 hours. Well, Bedhead has taken it all the way. Well, that was where they went wrong when they brought out the adult version at night. That was a load of garbage. I think I watched half an episode of that, and that was enough. Well, Bedhead has a ball. The 7 has gone. A little bit of check in the cue ball there just to bring it square across the table. Keep it away from the 3 and the 5. And now this is one of these little stun draws to the rail. And he's sitting reasonably good, doesn't want to run forward. You know, the thing about Tiswas is it wouldn't be politically correct now to have that on the telly. You'd have people complaining about the mess and everything. And you know, the other thing I read the other day, LS3's bailed out. The other thing I read the other day, that Marks and Spencer's have now changed the name of their midget gems. There's political correctness for you. Marks and Spencer's do their own version of midget gems, which for anybody who doesn't know are like little jelly sweets, different colours. They're quite firm, but they're quite small. And somebody complained, some official from somewhere down south complained, and Marks and Spencer's are now going to change the name to Mini Gems. And Tesco do their own version of midget gems. They're still called that, but Tesco, I guarantee, will probably change as well. So Bedhead scrapes through 7 racks to 6, and he's going to be given probably something similar or more to Bankster in the hot seat match. But meanwhile, while that's going on, if we look over on the one loss side, we've got Houdini and Popman neck and neck, 3 racks all, to see who's going to play Chimpy. No, tell a lie, it's 3-2. I read it wrong. But Houdini at the table, and it's a scratch match, no handicap, and the 5 doesn't go, obviously, and he's looking at the angle to try and make the combo. That's unlucky, and it's unlucky from the point of view that all that Popman has to do is cut the 5 onto the 9. Now, it would be dangerous to play the billiard from the 5 onto the 9 because the cue ball could follow it in. Yeah, blackjacks will be another one to be changed because of the political mob. And in it goes. So Popman goes through to play Chimpy in the one loss side. I'll type below there, or whatever it was I've typed, I don't know what it said. Now, where are we? What have we got here? We've got Mr. Fox playing Spectre Dawn, and that's Hill at the moment. Let's nip into that one. Well, of course, Uncle Ben's Rice has changed its name to Ben's now. I mean, this is just ridiculous. I'll tell you what I want. I want a channel in the UK that's non-politically correct, that can show all the stuff you used to watch that offends all these people. That's what I want. That'd be my ideal world. Yeah, there's always warnings now. A lot of the old films that I'm talking about on that channel 81, you know, they've got views that are, you know, Benny Hill's on rerun. No, Benny Hill's on rerun over here, Slim. They show it at 9 o'clock at night, you know, 3 or 4 episodes of it. I mean, and of course they give a warning at the beginning of it. It's got you know, scenes and stuff that are not thought right nowadays. Well, they weren't thought right back in the day when we watched it. We've still got a bloody good laugh. Oh, Love Thy Neighbour has never been repeated, Mark. Never been repeated. And it never will be either. I'll have a laugh. He called him, again, being politically correct, so that anybody isn't going to be offended. The black guy in it called him a honky, and the white guy in it called him an eggnog. And there's no way you could have that on television. No way will you ever see that. If they showed it over here, they would dub out, they would mute the words, because it's going to offend somebody. I mean, people don't live in the real world. Oh aye, Sambo is another one, yeah. I mean, these are the terminologies that are greatly offensive and probably get this video banned when somebody complains about it. But that's the type of thing we've come to nowadays. I mean, you wouldn't walk up to somebody and call them that, but that's what the programme that's what the programme is about. And again, if you take it into proper context, and Mark will confirm this, and Cobra as well, whoever saw it, the rivalry was between the two neighbours. The black couple from the Caribbean moved in, and you had this sort of ignorant, bigoted white guy who never won an argument against the black guy. It was all about him having these opinions on him, but he never ever won anything. It's the same with Alf Garnett. You know, he had all his opinions, but he never ever, you know, everybody saw through him. And there's no way you're ever going to see Till Death Us Do Part again. You think of what went on in that, you'll never see that. Right, so Spectre Don has survived another round. He's taken out fantastic Mr. Fox. And so the one-loss side, we've got Potman against Chimpy, Spectre Don again against LS3, and the hot seat match, if I can get this thing to work, has already started, and already Bankster has raced to a 2-0 lead, and he's getting 7 and out again. Yeah, it's the one programme, I mean, you know what they're showing in the morning? I mean, I get up on my days off, and at, 20 past 8, they're showing on the buses. I mean, that's not a politically correct programme either, but yet they show it. These two lecherous bus drivers after every clippy. You know, the feminists and all the sort of do-gooders and politically correct people would never watch that. But that's the stuff that we grew up with. Unfortunately for some. I see another tester. But if Bankster can get this and keep the cue ball on the table without scratching, he should be on that 7 ball, but this is tough. He's got to get the pace in it. Yeah, well, where's the cue ball going? Oh, there's a bit of good fortune there for Bedhead. Plumbing the 6. Well, this is still got to be got on, this 8 ball, if you know what I mean. And he's limited to where he can go. He's got to come down the right side. He can't risk coming down past that 9 ball. And he's got lots of spin on it, and he needs to stay top side. And he's just gone into that dodgy area. Should be okay though. Well, the bank rescues it, and Bedhead is off the mark. I mean, I've watched episodes of, you can see where it's going, this political correctness, but I've watched episodes of Porridge, and I know Porridge inside out, because I've seen every episode 100 times. I could probably remember the script. And I know that whenever you see a certain episode of Porridge, it's deliberately edited. So you don't hear the politically incorrect language that's used with reference to race and colour. And those that have seen Porridge umpteen times will know what episode I'm talking about. But whenever you see it, the prison officer starts his little speech, and suddenly it cuts to the end of the speech. And they're at it all the time. They keep doing it. And if you've seen their original versions, you can see where they've cut the bits out that are offensive to people or deemed to be offensive. They can't take it in context that it's a bloody television programme. It's fantasy. And it was made 40 years ago. They can't accept that. They have to go one step further and start cutting bits out of things. The other thing that annoys me as well is they show certain films at certain times of the day where they have to cut bits out, which is to me a bit pointless. So they start hacking lumps out of films because they want to show them at a certain time during the day that's before the watershed. That just defeats the purpose of showing the film in the first place. If you're going to start editing bits out that might upset somebody. It's just ridiculous. You might as well. That's a bit like showing the Mona Lisa and covering up her cleavage. Not that she had a cleavage, I don't think, but you know what I mean. Well, Bedhead has got it back all square, and he's got to be careful, as everybody has. You just cannot afford errors at the business end of the rack, and you've got to do what's expected of you. If you're a 2,400 rated player, you have to be running tables if you've got that cue ball under control. But Bedhead's come up dry. Good evening to Gary C, who I can't remember who that is. If they are in VP4, I can't remember. That's a good shot. Excellent shot in that one ball. Now, has he got enough to hold this cue ball? Yeah, little jabby kill. Oh, it is. I told you I've forgotten who you are. Fed up with Twitch cutting out. What are you watching it on, Tam? Are you watching it on... are you using... well, Pat, it doesn't actually matter. What's your browser? Is it Chrome? Because what you need to do from time to time is to clear out the cache in your browser, which a lot of folk don't do at all, but you have to go into the settings in advanced and stuff, and maybe clear out the cache. Maybe that's what's causing it to lag up. But the other thing, of course, is you have to change the quality of the resolution at the bottom right hand corner of the screen. That's maybe why it's buffering. You have to put it to the 1920 by 1080. Because things like YouTube and Twitch, the weird thing is, I think when you initially connect to the stream, it'll default to a setting, and suddenly when you go and look at the setting, it's got you down at 720 when the option's there for 1080. And maybe if you did that, it would have been fine. Tam's old enough to remember all these politically incorrect programmes we used to watch and get a good laugh at. No, I haven't heard anybody else saying there's been problems with Twitch tonight. It must be your 56k connection you've got up there in sheep shagging country. Oh, that's if you keep if you don't save your login details. Well, this is a big pocket, but he's not got the line, but he's maybe got the 9 in. He certainly didn't play that, but he'll take that every day of the week. And Bankster got the match back all square. Ball in the break. Don't know what one it was, but something went. The 1 ball has gone. 2 ball over the pocket. Cue ball into the table for the 3. Four ball is wide open, and the problem is getting from the 4 to the 5. Now, can he avoid the 9 as well? He might have to stun this if he doesn't want to collide with the 9. Yeah, little stunny draw. And now this is the big problem. And he's got a good line here, but does he want to try and get in the gap? Or does he want to try and drop down here on the near side of the 5? He's trying to get to that gap, and he's got there. Now, perfect angle, and got to watch he doesn't run towards the 6. All about controlling the pace, and he's running away from the 6. Has he got? No, he isn't. He's running into it. I thought he was running away from it, and that's what you don't want to do. You want to make a decision to go left or right, but not directly towards it. And now he's looking for a kick. And now he's thinking better about it. Now is Bedhead going to take the bait? Well, he's looking to run to the long grass, I think. Trying to skim this as thin as he can. Doesn't want to bring it into the table. Well, Bankster's now got a choice. He's got a bank on, or he's got an extreme bedhead cut if he wants to risk it. No idea where the cue ball's going to end up. And I don't think... Well, let's just say we don't know what he tried there. But he's given Bedhead a chance. Got to be across the table twice off this 6. Back across far enough, and that will do nicely. And Bedhead should be back in the lead. So this is the hot seat match to see who gets the final. The battle's going on in that one lost side. We'll give him that. What's happening in the one lost side? Let's have a quick look. Popman and Chimpy. Chimpy's 2-0 up. Spectre Dawn and LS3. Spectre Dawn's 3-0 up, so that's a tough one for LS3, even though she's getting whatever the ball is, she's getting near the 8 ball. And meanwhile, in rack number 8, Bedhead has got the 2 and the 5 on the break, and no real shot in the 1, trying to nail the cue ball to the 3. Hasn't quite nailed it, but he's got the cover. Was it going behind the 4? Nope. Well, again, I'm going to mention it for anybody who's late in arriving, in case you haven't heard. And the only reason I keep mentioning it is because a Scotsman did it. There's been a new high run record set for straight pool, not in VP4, this is in real life. And it was set 3 days ago by Jason Shaw, who set a new high run of 714, which beat the more recent high run a few years ago by was it John Schmidt? Can't remember his name. Which was 626, and it's now 714. And Spectre Dawn was on the brink at 3-0. He's gone through 4-0 against LS3. And meanwhile, Bedhead is just trying to, I think he's a bit straight in this, trying to just come back far enough. Now, it's tight. It's tight as well, considering where the 8 ball is, because he's got to get to that. Looks good to me. Where's the cue ball going though? It's amazing what can happen. And up comes Bankster's money ball. And in it goes. And we're all square again, and that's the perils of the handicap. It's like walking a tightrope. Well, in goes Bankster's money ball, that'll come up. And I don't think he's got much of a shot in the 1. Well, he might have enough to get the pot. Maybe not quite. And how's his luck? It's just run through. Now, Bedhead doesn't want to hit this 8 ball full in the face. He could end up hooked here on the 2 ball. He's just hit the edge. Now, the big problem now is that he's pretty much locked up the 5 ball, although that is very tight to get to. Even if you can get to that angle, I think you're pushing it into the point. Well, we'll find out. He could end up playing the 4 onto the 8 and the 5 if he wants to do that. Don't know whether he's considering it. He looks as if he's running up the table. Well, I think he was trying a bit of luck there, trying to maybe get the run. Where's the cue ball going? Right, well, it is going to be a combo. It's going to be the 4 onto the 8, onto the 5. It looks pretty much dead set. And that 4 ball, if it gets it at the right angle, will come back into the table. But will he have a shot? Well, he's got his favourite shot. And he's got to get it. And he's hung it. And where's the cue ball going? And it's ball in hand for Bankster. Just needs the 4, the 6 and the 7. What are you talking about there? Are you talking about... What tournament are you talking about? You trying to tell me Larry's in a cowboy tournament? Is this something that's running just now? Well, Bankster back in the lead, and a ball on the break. But again, he's getting no luck on that shot. He can jump and cut this though. Into the side. And now that looks as if it's going to be blocked off. Is there enough of that one? I think there is. There's just enough of the one. Is it the cowboy and the 10-footer? That'll be interesting to watch. Well, I think he's got no option in what he can do here with the cue ball. He can only go forward, and then of course the 5 is blocked off by the 9, unless he tries some sort of miracle and tries to pinch something here to do something. Yeah, he was trying all sorts. Trying to pinch an angle to get the top spin in the left-hand English to run the cue ball. He got the shot right, but trying to pinch on these pockets with that pace, it's never going to happen. I haven't heard anything. No, I mean, I don't talk to her at all. I don't know what's happening with her. I haven't read anything. And Chimpy has gone through with the same score against Popman. So that should be the semi-final setup, I think. Oh no, it's not. The winner of them is going to play the loser of this, so that's right. What's been happening? Because I haven't really been paying much attention on FaceTube. No, we're going to be all square. I thought you'd heard something. I hadn't heard, Mark. What was there something meant to be going on? Somebody not well or what? Tattoos was her name in VP3, and she's actually in VP4 in the offline version. She's one of the. In fact, I think she's got 2 profiles in VP4 offline. But she used to be a regular player in VP3, but she's been away for years and never really been in VP4. I think she might have been in once, but that was it. What does Bedhead do here? Well, as far as I know, he's somewhere over in the States, so you can hunt him down over there unless he's been kicked out of the country. I don't know where he was in the States. Well, he's gone for the 2-9 combo, he's got it. And he's 1 away. But I don't think he's got any joy this time, but he's also left Bankster with a shot in the 1, and they're all there. They are all on. You'll only ever see him from time to time. Do you know who? That's what I meant to say to you. Do you know who was in VP4? Was it last week? They came in and they sat in the lobby for a little while and then they disappeared, and they were, of course, gratis. Their name was Morka, M-O-R-K-A. Anybody, any of you guys remember who that was in VP3? Because I do. Because I know when I spoke to him the one time I saw him in VP4, I was asking who it was. And he told me. Yeah, I think she's only come back for the straight pool. She signed up to the straight pool tourney, like she did last year, and then disappeared after that. But Morka, was it Morka? I think it was Morka C. I might be wrong. M-O-R-K-A and then a C. Well, I'll tell you who it was. It used to be Namfat Titan in VP3 or Nam B-E, because I think he's from Belgium. But he was in VP4 last week. Sat there for maybe half an hour as a gratis player in the lobby and then went away and never come back. Reverse bank by Bankster, and we are hill. Nine ball looks as if it's going in, but the 8 ball got in the way, and the break's dry, and so Bedhead he's going to have to play a 2-8 combo. Now the question is how good he gets on this 2, and whether he can just nurse the 2 onto the 8 and not get blocked out by the 9. And that's not perfect. Now, the only thing that is good about it is the angle that he's got. Let's have a look. Yep, the angle that he's got is going to take the cue ball that way anyway, and the chances are that 2 ball's going to finish somewhere there if he doesn't play this too hard. And that's perfect. Look at where the cue ball's finished, right on the line, right on the point of my arrow. Commentator's eye never misses. Now, can he get out of there though? That's the problem. He can pinch a little bit. Oh, I'm really tired. Yeah, he's managed to squirt out, but he's left it really awkward. This is ugly. It's one of those little dinks, sort of pocket weight. Cue ball's going to come back across. He's going to be on the 4, no problem. And he's picked a line perfect. And it's going to have to be a 5-9 combo. And he's got the perfect angle for the little stun, as long as he doesn't scratch into that side pocket, to get as good a line as he can on this 5-9. Or is he trying to get up the table? Yeah, well, he's trying to get as good as he can, and I don't think he'd have played that much better. That's perfect. So, Bedhead, barring some extreme accident here, is going to go through to the final. But Bankster is still very dangerous on that one-loss side. And that's a good win for Bedhead. So, let's have a look. Where have we got to? Well, we've got to the situation where Chimpy and Spectre Dawn are going at it to see who plays Bankster. Bedhead can go and have a coffee or something stronger, because he's going to have like half an hour or so before the final. Final's a race to 9. I'll just blow my nose. One rack all, race to 4 scratch match between Chimpy from the Netherlands and Spectre Dawn from England. Well, that looks a good line if it nudges a 2. Well, it's nudged a 2 and found a gap, I think. Now, Chimpy, we saw earlier on his touch was a bit dodgy when he was trying to play something delicate. And he hasn't got that thin enough. And this is a perfect angle to cut the one and come down this left hand side and get on the two. You know something I've just realised? I think I saw a post on Facebook today. The Snooker Shootout's on at the moment. I think it's on for another couple of days. That's the one frame Snooker Shootout. That'll be on Sky. Well, he's got a good enough line. And he's trying to get to the top side of the 4, but he needed to get a lot straighter than that to be able to drop through for the 5, so now he's got a major problem. But if he gets the bottom side of the 5, he can put Chimpy in a whole heap of trouble behind that 8 ball. I think, again, this is where you maybe take your medicine and just lock it up. Oh, he's hit the knuckle. And Spectre Dawn might pay the price here if Chimpy can. Well, again, I think he's got to cut this and at least leave an angle of some description on that 5, because this 6 ball will go past the 7. He's got the angle, and as long as he doesn't scratch, he should be on the 6. But he wants to get quite good on this 6, so the cue ball's not having to do much, and that's good enough. But the problem now is just coming out into the table. A little touch shot just out into the table to about here, or come off the 2 rails and get out on the table. That works as well. And the simple one is just run forward, side rail, end rail, and a straight 9 ball back down the table in here. Or if he goes out far enough, a 9 into the side. But he should be odds on here for a 2-1 lead. And that will do. But this has come about from the mistake by Spectre Dawn. It's always dodgy going down those side rails where there's a middle pocket or a side pocket knuckle waiting to grab your cue ball or the object ball in this case, and that's what's given Chimpy the chance to run out, and he has done. Only a race to 4, so you don't have much time to respond. You have to be immediate with your response if you get a chance. 6 ball goes in, and a shot in the 1. Now this is another awkward one because the 2 balls in the table, and again, you don't want to be too tentative. The safest shot would be to cut this with the weight to come off the rail and back up. If you try and get the right way, you end up there and you've got no shot, or virtually no shot. He might go top rail, side rail, and down. No, he's trying to come down into the gap. Actually played that very well, apart from the fact he missed the ball. And Spectre Dawn again coming into the gap. He's found the gap, and the difficulty now is getting good on the 3 to get up onto the 4, and it's not as easy as it sounds. But he's got the gap to go into between the 7 and 8, and that's all went wrong. I don't know whether I don't know what his angle was like, because I thought that from the shot he had there, he could have stunned into that gap. And he's trying to get around a corner and avoid the 3, but he's ran straight into it, trying to play a safety. Well, this would be really delicate to try and just skim that into the 5 to catch the side pocket. In fact, that might be the only option he's got, because I don't think there's much else available. And that's perfect. That's an excellent shot. That's a very intricate little shot there. And now, again, there's a big gap to get into, to get on this. Anywhere that way, but again, he's going some strange ways to get on this ball. He had a huge gap here to get into it, and trying to do that to get the cue ball there, he's missed the 4. You've got to, again, make do with what you've got when there's plenty of room to get onto the ball in another way, rather than trying to do something obscure. Well, that's a good shot from Spectre Dawn, considering he was hooked. But that could be a big mistake by Chimpy. I don't think there was any need to try and do anything off that 4 ball to get to that side of the 5. I think it was far easier to come down the left and find the gap. And it keeps Spectre Dawn in it, provided he can take these 3 balls out, which shouldn't be that difficult. Well, that's going to have to bounce. Oh, it's one of these. It's one of these. Because you're stuck in the rail, you can't really do an awful lot. You start jacking up. It makes the shot much more difficult because you're trying to avoid the scratch. And he's jacking up. And he's played it well. And we're all square. Well, this looks dry, but Spectre Dawn has left nothing other than a push out from Chimpy. Now, again, if he plays down to the 6 ball, he's asking for trouble here. This is asking for trouble because Spectre Dawn can nudge that 1 ball and use the 4 that's up there to hide the cue ball. Well, he can do that if he wants to. He's trying to check it. Well, that works just as well. But again, that push out was never a good idea because you're leaving yourself open to something like this. I think you can see a feather edge of the one. And that, well, that's a good result. Now, this is the old hit and hope. Hit the ball and hope you get lucky. And he has done. And what's more, Chimpy's hampered right over the 8 ball. Well, this is really, really ugly. There's ugly and there's ugly, and this is definitely ugly. I don't know whether the line's there. Maybe there is just by the point to get something in that 1 ball. He just got the edge. But the cue ball has come back into play. And it's one of those nasty thin ones. Again, cue balls running all over the place, up and down. And he'll be hoping he gets a hit in something to at least see the 2. Well, he's thinned it enough, but not really got a shot. Now, I know what the shot is here for a safety. You overcut this 2 to send it there, and you get the cue ball running down here like that. And that's a good shot. You overcut it, because then you know it's going to the rail and go in that direction and get as long a distance between the 2 balls. And that's actually a snooker as well. Not difficult to hit. And Chimpy hoping he gets lucky, and I think he has. Yeah, there's not enough of that 2 ball showing. And of course, the limitation you have with hitting this 2 ball is that you're going to go close to that 4 with the cue ball. And he's just trying to stop the 2 ball from running away anywhere where Chimpy would have a shot. And that's not a bad result. Two ball off the rail, but surely Spectre Don's not going to do this. No, he's just trying to keep it tight. Of course, every angle on this 2 ball here is entirely the wrong angle to get onto the 3 without just leaving the 2 ball in the middle of the table for the thin cut. Because you can't get down to the 3. But unless Chimpy gets that cue ball behind the 9, which he has done, because that was perilously close to leaving that 2 ball on, and he's played it good enough. Well, Spectre Don thought he had a line there. It wasn't there to get the hit in the 2. And Chimpy's going to first go at getting to the hill with ball in hand. I mean, there's no reason to overthink this. All you need to do is pot the 2, stop the cue ball, leave that nice angle in the 3. Cue ball's got to get up the table onto the 4. You know, the one thing they talk about in a lot of things, particularly billiards and snooker and stuff, is overthinking stuff. They were talking about that last week with Neil Robertson, where he went through that phase where he was, you know, a couple of years ago his game was slowing up. He was spending 2 minutes on some shots overthinking stuff, and he plays a lot better when he's playing at a pace where he's got a rhythm. And that's what you don't want to do in any, you know, game of billiards or pool. You don't want to be starting overthinking stuff because you're looking for problems that aren't there a lot of times. Now, is that the hog that's arrived? The hog? My unbeaten cowboy partner in the last 3 matches, I think. Well, get the cue ball into the table, and that will do. Yeah, you just stick playing with the tactical genius, Hog. You won't lose, especially if you don't play like a numpty, which you're getting better at. I'll grant you that. You're definitely getting better. But then again, that's down to me putting you on shots, isn't it? I think that's dry. It is most certainly dry, but Spectre Don is going to be running for cover. But I don't think he's running far enough. He was wanting to try and get down into this corner, and he's left a cut. He's left a bedhead cut for Chimpy. But again, he's doing the sensible thing. When the chance is there to try and lock it up, although he hasn't really got it tight enough, then get it in cover if you can. But Spectre Don might fancy jumping and cutting this in. But no idea if he's going to be able to see this 2 ball in a minute. If he does get it, he has got it, and he is going to see the 2. That's an excellent shot. That's why you've got to get them tight. Now, how's the 3 ball looking? Well, let's go nowhere down there. Oh, where's the cue ball going? Now, oh, he's going to have to play something or manufacture something here. I think he's just, is he trying to just, he could skim it, but is he trying to cheat the pocket? No, he's just trying to hide. Well, he hasn't really done that either. Now, the 5 ball can be a stopper if you can spin the cue ball just around. Play a little stun onto the side rail and down and use the 5 as a blocker. That would be one shot to try. Yeah, got to get into a wee bit more than that. Now, look at this 3 ball. It's not quite frozen, but it's not the shot you want down this rail. And Spectre Dawn might not have much of an option here, but the other issue is, look at the 4. He's never going to be in the 4 if he plays the pot in this 3. Yeah, he's just trying to push it to the rail, dead weight. But again, not really a dangerous shot because Chimpy's got the same problem. He can pot the 3, but how does he get to the 4? Well, at least he can see the 4, which is always a good thing. But he now needs to make sure that Spectre Dawn can't see it. That's the big problem. Because if Spectre Dawn can see a sniff of this 4 ball, he's potting it. And I think, well, Chimpy's tried the combo. That is a sellout, I'm afraid. It was a big risk to be taking that on. And it's given Spectre Dawn a free go that he really shouldn't have been having. I think there were other options there for a half decent safety, but that wasn't it. Well, he might have to get into this cue ball here. Let's have a look. Yeah, he's going to have to play a delicate one to just rest the cue ball and using the 9 ball as a stopper. And this is perfect now to come down the left hand side as we look for this 7. And we are going all the way, folks, in this one. There's quite a few matches in the one-loss side went to the final rack. This is another one to the collection. But it's going to be Spectre Dawn to break, though. So the game is at his mercy from this break. Well, a couple of balls are going into the bottom right, but the other thing is the cue ball has found its way into the side, and Chimpy is going to have ball in hand and everything there. And is he going to hold his nerve? Well, he doesn't want to leave himself that angle in the 1. He wants to get a bit more than that to make sure he gets out into the table, or he doesn't want to underhit this. Got to get the cue ball out. Yeah, well, he's just got there. And again, the angle is vital off this 4 to come right down the table for the 5. And this is not an awful room, a lot of room for manoeuvre, but he's got the angle. Now he has to come in the gap between the 7 and 9. Anywhere down this bottom half of the table on the right side will do nicely. Because the line that he's taken, he's putting bottom in this. I don't know why. And he just needs to run this so he's coming into the gap. And again, this doesn't need an awful lot of thought because there's a whole acre of space to get in. And that's not what he wanted to do. Oh dear, what a finish. Unbelievable. How's that for luck? Runs into the 9, flukes it into the side, and Chimpy goes through. Well, I'm sure Spectre Don said a few unpolitically correct words there when that happened. But Chimpy goes through, 4 racks to 3. Oh dear. Well, we've got a final again, folks. And it's going to be an international final, well, a European final, between Bedhead from Sweden and Chimpy from the Netherlands in a race to 9. And there's going to be, I would imagine, an 8-ball money ball, something like that. Why is this taking so bloody long to update? Or am I streaks ahead of myself? No, I'm forgetting the fact that Bankster's sitting there. I was thinking that was the semi-final. This is it. Goodness me, that shows you how tired I'm getting. I'm a match ahead of myself here. Oh, goodness me, yes. It's that time of night, folks. Well, Chimpy's managed to fluke his way through that match, but he's not going to fluke his way through this one. Because I think Bankster, if I'm right in saying, is the very chap that put him to the one-loss side. I think that is correct. There we go. Bankster won the first match, 7 racks to 2. But of course now, it's the same handicap. Bankster getting the 7-ball. Chimpy's won the lag. He's broke dry, I think. And, well, he's not left anything easy here for Bankster. We've got the 9-ball in an awkward spot with a 4-ball very adjacent to it, bottom left. Yeah, there's the jammy Dutchman. Spent far too long thinking about that shot when there was a huge gap just to bring the cue ball down the table. Runs it into the 9, flukes it into the side. And he's got absolutely no shame. Well, what do you do here with this one? Well, he tried to get into the gap to play the combo onto the 9. It was a tall order to do that, but he's got away with it. Now, a little dink by Bankster could have Chimpy in trouble. He's tried the cross bank. I thought a wee dink there in that 2 to lock up behind the 6. But you've got to have faith in your mouse to do that, Larry. You need to have the proper mouse to be able to play those little dinky shots. The little touch shots that you can rely on your mouse enough to be able to play them. Larry knows what I'm talking about. Now, does he want to stun around the angles to get up past the 9 on the right side? Yeah, but he's going to scratch. Well, it had to go round the rails to actually avoid any semblance of a scratch taking part there. If he had went around the 2 rails to come behind the 9 to get where he is, or where the cue ball is now, there's no danger of the scratch. So it's Dangerous Bankster. That's his new nickname. Dangerous Bankster is already going to be 1-0 up, because that's the one thing you can't do, is make the error at the business end of the rack when Bankster's getting the 7 ball. But 7 balls going in. That's going to come back up, but there's no shot in the 1 now. Can he push this past the 6? No, he can't. And let's have a look at that 8 and 9. I think the 8 and 9 aren't a problem. Well, he's got the next best thing. He's still got the cover. Of course, it isn't difficult to hit. What's difficult is where everything's going to end up. Oh, that might just go to the side rail. He'll take that every day of the week. That's a good result. Now, Bankster has a line that he can take from there to go there, and in the end he didn't give me enough time to explain the shot. But that would have been the safety. Oh, that's another thing that I was thinking about as well. Did any of you guys see any of that, the senior snooker, the UK championship that was on? It was on the red button. I thought Michaela Tabb was out of the WPBSA or whatever it used to be as a referee. Oh, another scratch. Because she was refereeing some of the matches in that tournament. I thought she was gone for good, because she certainly doesn't do any of the big tournaments that we see nowadays. You don't see her at any of them on the TV. So I was wondering why she was in the seniors one, which is a bit like she's been demoted down to the numpty league of referees. I'd love to know the full story. Seems a bit strange that you don't see her for ages and then she turns up at that thing as a referee. Anyway, more important matters is Bankster trying to get a shot in the 5. No. Michaela, as far as I know, she was fine, but she's not been refereeing in any snooker events over here for what, 2-3 years, more than that now. And the only time I've ever seen her was in the pool tournaments. And then suddenly out of the blue she's refereeing the seniors match. I was just glad to see her again. Well, this is a really, really delicate... Now, tell a lie, I forgot the handicap again. I was talking about trying to hold for the 8 and I realised he just needs a 7. Well, pressure is really on now on Chimpy. And this is what should be raising your game to keep your full focus, because you know you cannot afford mistakes. You must take the opportunity, or at very least you must make it difficult for Bankster. And he's got the opportunity to do that, because he's going to have no shot in the 3, but he can certainly nail Bankster. Push the 3 through, lock that cue ball up. He doesn't want to bump it into the rail and hit the 6. He wants to get that right out of there. Again, he could have done with nailing it to the 6, because I think there's enough room to spin and use the rail and kick in behind that one, that 3 ball. There's a wee bit more care and attention needed. Well, he hasn't quite got enough to get there. There's just a wee bit more care and attention needed to get these balls tight when you're trying to roll up. If you get it tight, you cut down a whole heap of angles that the incoming player can get to a particular rail to make a shot. Well, goodness me. Well, that's a slap in the face for Chimpy, because he did it to Spectre Dawn in that last match, and Bankster's fluked to 7. Oh dear. It's amazing what can happen. And all of a sudden, Bankster's on the hill, and Chimpy is backs against the wall, looking for a push out. Now again, got to be clever with the push out. Now, well, the danger with this shot is if you try and skim the 1, you've got to miss that pocket, but you can get the cue ball down the table and use these balls here as blockers. I think there's enough angle there to skim past that 1 ball and skim off it and just bank it to the rail, bring it into the table and use these as cover. Oh, he's gone the other way. Well, that's one way of doing it. Let's just say that. I must admit, I never saw that shot. That was not on the agenda for the shot to be played, but he's got it. Well, if you want to see somebody under pressure, it's Chimpy there. Now, is it going to be a 1-9? I think it is. Ball in hand, 1-9, and it's all over. You can get the cue ball in there. Pop that 1 onto the 9. Well, he's not even looking at it. I don't know why. Oh, I'd be nailing that 1 onto the 9. I would not be doing this. I wouldn't be Mr. Nice Guy, I'm afraid. Why is he not looking at the 1-9? Well, once you've made that choice, you've then got to deliver. And if you don't, you end up looking a bit of a numpty. Because that's given a lifeline if you can't run these balls to the 7 ball. And he's got to watch that he doesn't run into the 7 if he's going to do anything with the cue ball to try and come around. He's avoided the 7. He has to avoid getting hooked. Like almost did there. He almost did it. But Bankster thinks he can get this done without playing the 1-9. Well, this cue ball wants to run up past the 8 ball. And now he's in no man's land. And this could be the lifeline that Chimpy's needing. Bankster going for the cut. And he's got it. And he's going to have another bedhead cut for the match. Well, that backs up everything I've said about Bankster being the most dangerous guy with a handicap in Friday Night 9-ball, because he had ball in hand behind the 1 onto the 9, and he's ran the table to the 7 for the match by 4 racks to 0, and that's a good win for Bankster. Never take him lightly and do that at your peril. And so this time, definitely 100%, it's Bankster who is through to the final to play Bedhead. And once again, Bedhead is the one that put Bankster to the 1 loss side in that final rack decider. So it's going to be the same handicap, 7 and out, and a race to 9. And Bankster is out for revenge, and they may well be lagging. Oh, good night, Mark. I've just met. I don't know. Maybe that was a minute ago. I don't know, but see you later. Thanks for watching. Larry, you still there? That reminds me now, having seen Mark in the chat there. Meant to ask you something. I think Larry's gone as well. So player 2 is Bankster, getting 7 and out. But it's Bedhead who's got the perfect opportunity for first blood in tonight's final. Wide open table. And as long as he keeps his house in order, he should be 1-0 up. That's the 4 ball in that top rail there. Yeah. Dead straight in the 2. Is he trying to pinch a bit here? No, just a big draw. Down the right hand side past the 7 and 8. And some angle of any description will do. Now, this is where he's got to be careful and get this right, because the 5 isn't going past the 9. So he's going to try and come down the narrow side, I would think. And this is going to have to be a very good... Well, he's playing a draw. Is he trying to come around the bottom side of the 5? I don't know what he's trying to do. If he's going to go... The kind of shot Spectre Dawn would play would be playing to get to sort of there, on the narrow side of the 5, which is a very touchy shot. Well, Bedhead's ran into the 8. I mean, that 5 would go in off the jaw, but it's tight. And he's played it perfect. That was very touchy to get there. Larry, Mark, Steve-O was asking me earlier on, is there anything up, or what's happening with tattoos? What do you call her? Shannon on Facebook. I wonder if you've heard anything. I don't know what Mark was talking about, but I've certainly not seen or read anything. Well, the big mistake, after all the hard work, I think he's got away with it though, after all the hard work. No, I have no idea either, so I don't know what he was getting at. Or maybe he was just wondering why she's never been in BP4. Well, Bankster had to go for the thin cut, and that well, that leaves Bedhead no option. He's got to go for the combo. And that was well played into the rail, just to make the hit point in the 9. Oh, something dropped in the bottom right hand corner, but look at where the cue ball is. And that one ball isn't cutting. Now, can he pot the one and hit the point? If he pots the one in the corner, it looks very touchy, this one as well. It's got to be gentle enough to just stay there or thereabouts to leave the cut in the 2. Come back into the table for the 3. Again, he's played it perfect. I've got all sorts of weird names coming up that say suggested friend. Never bloody heard of them. And the reason they come up is because there's somebody else. They're on somebody else's friends list that's on your friends list. And I just ignore all of them. Well, we know what's coming next. It's got to be the 6-8 combo. And that's pretty much as good as you can expect. And it's going to be 2-0. But no need for Bankster to panic. Right, see you later, Cobra. Thanks for watching. Well, this 7 and out handicap can switch the match in the blink of an eye. But if Bedhead does, and this is the simple part in the way this handicap works and Bedhead's rating works. If a player of Bedhead's level at 2,400 does what they should be doing, is when he pots a ball in the break and he has a shot, he should be running the table every time. And as long as he keeps doing that, Bankster's got no way of getting into the match. But that's a tall order. And the commentator's curse has done him straight away. And I think again he's escaped. He's got away with it. And now Bankster needs to get lucky. Oh well, that's one way of getting it. And a little nudge in the 3. Now, is that slightly off the rail? Well, where's my V button went to? Yeah, just off the rail. But Bankster has to take this opportunity, and the big tough one is from the 4 to the 5. Now there's loads of room in that little area over by the 9, and he's got the angle to get there, and that's perfect. That's excellent. Now, I say excellent, he's got to stun past this 8. Just a little dink. Don't want to be running into it. And that again is perfectly played. Nice line just to drop onto the rail for the 7. And that's, again, the sensible way to do it. And Bankster's going to be on the board. And ball in the break. No really inviting shot in the 1 though. Now what's he going to try here? I mean, he can, if he cuts the 1 to this right corner, the cue ball's running up the table towards the 2 anyway. Yeah, that was not easy. Now these are the type of situations that Bedhead's got to capitalise on. Now he's got a wide open table. As long as he can get this one and go on the two, he's expecting to be out. We all expect him to be out. Open up that gap again. But once again, he's made the mistake. Now this time, Bankster needs to get down and have a look at that, not that arrow, but he needs to have a look at the point where he's trying to chip the one, because that can come off the knuckle and stay on the table, that one ball. Yeah, he's trying to squeeze it in, and the chance may have come and gone. It's going to have to be 2 rails back into the table. Needs to keep going. And again, it's the draw to the side rail over to the left. And it's going to have to be the same again. He's going to have to go into the corner and around and out. He's dead straight, so just kill it. Little soft drop in, but not dead straight in the 8. Now, again, he can go forward and punch this, but he's coming back into the area in the right with the draw, because that gives you better control playing it that way than letting it run forward. So Bankster had his chance there. Tried to pinch a bit too much to squat that one ball in, but Bedhead does what's expected when he had the chance. He runs it out for a 3-1 lead, and Bedhead this time as well has come up dry. Now, not a problem with the 1, and there is a good gap to go on the 2. Now the problem there is there's no angle to get on the 3. So he could have himself in trouble here if he's not too careful, Bankster. He could be in bother. And he's trying to drag all the pace off the 2. And he certainly can't get the potting angle on the 3, but he can punch the 3 around the table and kill this right on the 5 and hope he doesn't pot the 3. And he hasn't killed it. Again, players struggling to execute that shot. It's a proper little stunt to kill it stone dead behind the 5. Okay, he hasn't left Bedhead a pot, but he should have had it. He shouldn't have been able to see that 3, because now Bankster's in trouble. Well, loads of room for a little massy shot around the 4 and kick the 3 up the table. As long as the 3 doesn't kick into the 6 and 7, it wouldn't be a bad shot. He's trying to bail out with the jump stick. Maybe he's not comfortable. Well, you see, he's avoided hitting the 6 and 7, which was the good part of the shot, because that means that Bedhead's going to have to deal with that situation. Although, let's have a look at this 6 from here. If you get that 6 from there, I don't know whether you can get enough of it to make that pot and cheat it off the rail. Maybe there is, maybe not. I need a bit more convincing. We'll find out soon enough, whoever gets there. It doesn't look like Bedhead at the moment from where he's sitting in the 4. trying to spin in behind the 5. Again, another little deft touch shot. And he's got there. Well, once again, the biggest mistake Bankster's going to do here is slamming this from the jump shot and breaking open the 6 and 7. And this would not be wise. Let's just say that. Whatever he does not want to push the 4 into the 6 and 7. That could be fatal. And that is not a bad shot. He will take that one. Because I don't think Bedhead can get to that clean. I think he's snookered. So, trying to bail out again with the jump stick. He's got the hit. He may well have the cover in a second or two. And he has. He's got away with it. Once again, Bankster can jump and catch the edge of the 4. He might even, if he gets enough pace in this, he might be able to cross bank this into the corner pocket, or at least over that direction. He might get cover behind the 5. We actually got it a lot thicker than I thought, but he's going to get the cover. The end result is still good. And as long as that 6 and 7 remain where they are without being moved, then there's no immediate danger. Well, Bedhead, I don't think he tried, but he almost hit them. But now it's left with Bankster with a problem. Now, does Bankster think he can get somewhere where he can get a hit on that 6 that would cheat the pocket and go in? It's very difficult to say whether you could play a shot from there and hit that 4 legal. Not the 4, the 6. And it would still go in. Well, Bankster's put the cue ball in a spot that's given him every opportunity to try and dig that out. Is he going to try and punch it and go behind the 7? Looks like it. He's got to get it right though. If he doesn't, he's doomed. And that's a shot. That is a shot, because you ain't jumping over that. That's how tight you have to get them. Bedhead's not jumping that one. And Bankster may well have an opportunity here if Bedhead doesn't get the hit and get it safe to knock this 6 and 7 in to get back within 1. But Bedhead has got the hit. But he hasn't quite got it safe. And Bankster needs to be careful. It will squeeze past. But he's got to hit this flush. Any touch in that 7 and it ain't going in. Well, he's hit the 7. And again, Bankster's had 2 chances in the last couple of racks. They've both gone, and Bedhead has capitalised, and now Bankster, from looking pretty good to get back within 1, is going to be trailing by 3. And I suppose it works both ways. With Bankster getting his handicap, he must take the chances. And that's 2 that's gone, albeit they weren't perfect. They weren't gimmies of any description, but it's cost him dear. Bedhead still needs to stay on his toes, but he's scratched immediately in the break. But Bankster's chances of doing a lot with this rack are very limited, considering the 3 and the 4 are locked up. Well, looks as if he's trying to drop behind the 4. And again, he's nailed it. That is perfect. And if he gets a chance this time, he's got to put it away from 4-1 down. There'd be a bit of a crisis on if it goes to 5-1. Well, there's a little bit of pressure on Bankster now with ball in hand because, you know, he's got the 3, got to get the 4 and then get out onto this 5. But he's got to get onto the 5 in a particular way because it's obviously blocked off where the 6 is. It's awkward because the 9 is adjacent and can cause problems. So this is about a weight shot. As long as he gets the weight right, he should be on it into the side. And a nice little angle on the 6. Now he's got to go round the corner and out. Is he trying to draw off it behind the 7? He might be trying to draw off it. No, he's trying to run it. Oh, that needs to keep running. It's got to keep going. And it's got there. I thought he was trying to jack up there just to draw in behind the 7. But he got around the table. Vital that he took that chance there. Just keeps him in touch. It keeps him dangerous. Needs a ball. Oh, well, the 3s get kicked in eventually. And I think, was that the 4 or the 8 that kicked it in? Yeah, it's the 3 and 4 that's gone. And once again, it's a tough opening shot. And he can run for cover here if he wants. Well, you've got to run for cover a lot better than that because that's weak. That is a couple of feet short of where the 1 ball should have been. And it's a foot short where the cue ball should have been. It should have been in behind the 6 and 9. Use that 5 ball as well. And maybe it's a sign of fatigue because we've been at it for just knocking on the door of 3.5 hours. But Bedhead can restore his lead here as long as he minds his work. Yeah, especially if you're in it to the business end, you know, it's staying focused. I know what it's like sitting here, my backside's sore. Been sitting here for like, well, more than 4 hours since before the tournament started. And the fact that I'm now like 90 minutes beyond my bedtime, you know, so it plays. Where's this cue ball going? What a disaster from Bedhead. And this has let Bankster straight back into the match. Bedhead should have been 5-2 up, and he's found the only thing in the table that can cause him the major issue. He's scratched. And he's given Bankster a free go on the 7. And all of a sudden, Bankster's breathing down Bedhead's neck. Bankster, I think, has come up dry. I didn't see anything go. Yeah. And fortunately for Bankster, he's left nothing on for Bedhead. So, got to keep your wits about you all the time. No, it's already moved up an hour, Slim. The problem for me is that when we get to October again, the clocks are going to go forward, and that means that the tournament's starting at 8 o'clock my time, and that's why I won't stream any of them at 8 o'clock. I was doing them for a little while, but I had to leave before the end of the tournament because it's running way too late for me at that time of night. That's why I have to keep it at 7 o'clock to at least you know, give me a chance of going all the way with the tournament and getting to bed and getting 2 or 3 hours sleep. But to move it to 6 o'clock at night, I mean, that would be fine, but that's obviously an hour earlier for any guys in the States. I've just got to make sure that when the clocks go forward in October, that they move the start time back for Friday night 9-ball. Well, Bankster has got a toughie here. Tough because the cue ball just wants to come straight across to the 5. Well, he gave it every chance to go in. And Bedhead has got a difficult one right in the pocket, and he's got to just draw straight out with the right weight to get good on the 5. And that's not perfect. He's going to have to leave something awkward in this 6-ball. If he just again keeps it simple, he just makes sure he pots the 5 and he leaves a really high cut in the 6 without trying to be too elaborate with the cue ball. And that's probably about as good as you could do from either the left or the right side of the table. Is just a big high Bedhead cut. And now he has to obviously make sure he's going that way, which he's got a good line to be able to do that, so that he's heading away from the 7 and up past the 8 to get to that 7. Well, he's following the line. How's the pace? The pace is fine. Although he's got to be delicate with this. Just a little soft dink. So Bedhead is just keeping Bankster at arm's length here. And the gap is going to go to 2 again. But Bedhead can't take his foot off the gas. He can't get distracted because anything could happen. Well, he hasn't scratched this time, but he's not potted anything else. And that 9-ball is dangerous. Although, well, Bankster's gone all out for the 1, and Bedhead won't be playing a 1-9 combo. He'll be cutting the 1 into the side. All the balls are there. So again, just join the dots. Do what's expected of you. And you should be 6-3 up in about 2 minutes' time. But then, again, he's just gone a bit too heavy. And this could end up going wrong because he's stuck to the rail. He can only go forward. He's got a strong chance of running into that 8 and hooking himself behind the 6. That's the danger with this shot. And end up having no shot in the 3. And he might just rely on a bit of luck here. Well, he's trying to take evasive action. And he's played that well. That was excellently played. Knew what would be happening there if he just ran it plain ball. He could have run off the 8, hooked himself behind the 6, no shot in the 3. And when you see that problem, you have to take evasive action. So it's now going to be a 5-9 combo. Little draw stun down past the middle pocket on the right. But not too far, because you want to keep a highish line for the cut in the 5. And once again, that's as good as you could expect. Well, maybe not. I'm looking to see whether the 5 goes. That's very tight, but he could have done with it down a couple of inches more. It made it a wee bit awkward, and this is another chance that Bankster cannot afford to waste. If that cue ball had just run another couple of inches, Bedhead was perfect. and Baxter's left it short. He wanted to come back about another foot there. He's played it well though, and I think I'm in my last legs here, folks. I don't know how many still there watching. There might be two, but I'm diminishing rapidly here, going downhill very quickly. My brain's in bed, and the rest of me wants to follow it, so I'll be heading out here sharpish soon as this is done. But Baxter, once again, back to within one. And again, these guys can't buy a ball in a break here. It's dry. Delicate little drop in the one. Maybe run into the 6 ball, but doesn't want to run into the 7. Got to be careful. He's avoided that. Now, if he keeps it simple, he's just running into the rail, checking the cue ball, and finding the gap. In fact, I don't even think he needed to. But the angle he's got now drops him right onto the 4. Nothing to do with the cue ball other than just let it take its natural course off that rail. The major problem is getting some sort of good angle in this 5 that would allow him to leave the cue ball somewhere like there where the 5 ball. In fact, I don't even know whether that makes the cut. Unless he tries to get into the 6 ball. We're about to find out. Well, he's decided to come across for the combo. Missed the combo in the last rack that cost him. This is a much better opportunity, this one. However, that's the problem. Are you going to have a shot? Where's the 6 ball going? Well, that might be, I've mentioned this before, that might be a guide. One of the commentators said that in Snooker last week. And that was a guide for Bedhead. Just enough of the 6 ball shown to make the potting angle. And a vital 6 ball it was to make sure he's got a chance of maintaining his lead and opening it back up to 2 racks. So into rack number 11, ball in the break. One ball doesn't go, so just pushing through, trying to get the cue ball behind the 6. But again, Bedhead has a touch like a sledgehammer. He hasn't got it tight and he hasn't got cover. Well, there's a nice cluster down the bottom of the table here to try and get the cue ball into it. He hasn't done that though, but he's got the next best thing. Again, just an edge of the 1 ball showing, but with the distance between the 2 of them, it's so difficult to judge how you're going to hit this and how much that 1 ball is going to come off the rail into the table. And also the other part of the equation is how far away can you get the cue ball? Well, he's looking at the rail to kick this. He's got the hit and he's left nothing easy. And of course, the other problem is getting, if you pot the 1 and get on the 2, you've got to get good enough to get on that 3. But if you look at the 3 from this side, and if Bankster has had a look, you look at that 3-7 combo, dead set, although there's a gap between the 2. But that is plumb into the corner at the moment. I wonder if Bedhead has had a look at that as well. Now he's got a problem, he's hampered by the 5. Now if that 5 ball wasn't there, you can get the stunt down the table. Little stun draw down to that point where the 3 ball is to make the combo. He's going like 1, 2, 3 rails trying to get across. He's going to be well short. But he's had a look. It's all about the line. And he's got it too thin. But he's got second prize. He's nailed the 3 to the 9. And this is really awkward. I mean, because you can only hit that right side of the 3 ball, the cue ball's heading to the pocket. Trying to just kill the cue ball. Once again, Bedhead's get the opportunity to play this right and nail the cue ball to the 9 again. He's letting it run too heavy, but he's got cover. Hasn't got it as tight as it could be. So the jump stick is out. Dead weight to hold a line for that 5. Now a little stun draw in to the right hand side. I'll get him nicely in the 6. Once again needing that angle just to drop down. Well, he hasn't really quite got into the cue ball. He's got the angle the other way. Now the only way this is going to go wrong is hooking himself behind the 8. He's either going to finish in that gap there or come down to here. Somewhere in that gap if he's coming down the right hand side, which would be the obvious way to go. But the danger is you're messing with these balls here. And if that bounces, I think he's okay. Well, okay from the point of view he's not hooked, but he's dead straight in the 7. And try to just pinch a little bit here, I think. And that was the danger. But again, he's got a shot. Delicate little drop in, dead weight on this 8. And Bedhead now has some sort of a comfortable lead because it's now 7 racks to 4. The gap is 3. And I think that was, well, the 8 ball was one of them that went, I think. The 8 and the 9. And he's got a shot in the 1. Now can he get good on the 2? 6 and 8 ball are just awkward, right in the middle of the table. they take up the room that you would want to use to find a way onto that too. And he's coming down this side, and he's going to be having a shot into the side. Now, just a gentle roll in, keep the cue ball more or less where the 2 is at the moment. And the angle in the 3 is perfect for a little stun and take this 4 into this corner pocket here. And again, he can play a bit of top and left just to check the cue ball. When it hits that rail, he's got the top and left just to bring it that way. Instead of coming up this way, it's went that way. Oh dear, look at what happened there. I mean, unbelievable. Everything right about it, but just enough pace to take it into that side pocket. You would not believe it unless you've seen it. But Bankster's got to pot the 3 now, because the 7 ball has gone. And you would think that's pretty much an odds-on certainty. Drop the 6 in. Oh, goodness me, Bankster has blinked big time there. And that's a big, tired shot in the 6. A very tired shot in the 6 there by Bankster, because that was a birthday present given to him and he's thrown it away, and all of a sudden Bedhead's on the hill. I think fatigue is playing a big part in this. Well, 3 ball was one of the balls, it's the only ball, but it's gone in. 9 ball over the pocket. 5-9 combo, odds on certainty for the match. If anybody can get there though, because this is not an easy starter for Bedhead, especially where the 2 ball is. And he's going all out for it. And I don't know whether Bankster can see that one. He's going to have to play the long jump over the 7. I don't know whether he's got enough to be able to do that. I mean, it's a long way that cue ball has to travel in a low trajectory to go over that 7. It is a tall order. So, again, the butt has to go at a certain angle, but you have to get the pace in it to get it flying. No. Too much of an order, or too much to ask to get that at that distance. So ball in hand for Bedhead. Now the 5-9 is still there. It's all about a clean shot in the 1 and getting back up on the right hand side of the table past the middle pocket. Perfect angle to get there without scratching, that is. Has he got the legs? Yes, he has. So, the 2 ball, the 4 ball, and the 5-9 for the match. And for this week's Friday night 9 ball, it's odds on it's going to Bedhead from Sweden. And with that, folks, I'm going to thank you all for watching. I'm going to bid you good night. Take care, stay safe. And I will see you again soon. Well done to Bedhead, unlucky to Bankster, but Bankster had his chances, but that was a big blow on that 6 ball. So I'm off to bed, folks. I'll bid you good night, and I will see you again soon.